Hello YouTube peers and welcome to a new episode of What Did You Miss? This is episode number 24. So, today we start off with Mario Maker 2 and then you know what? Let's try a different format. Let's just go through all the Mario Maker 2 videos, then we'll go through all the Final Fantasy 7 videos, then all the League of Legends videos and so on. That way, people that want to watch specific game footage can just skip to those sections in the video.
Giving things at the appropriate timing is kind of unfair.
So I was playing some Pepanga levels. This was the nicest level that I found that day on Pepanga's account. I think maybe Panga or whatever his name is has more than one account in Mario Maker. I'm not sure though, but either way, that particular account, every level was like as hard as he could possibly make it, so I wasn't able to beat any of them. Where were we? Oh, I should have done open a new tab probably. After that, I played through my Super World, so we have a highlight of me playing the first two maps of the Super World. So, this was the end of the first map. So it was a thwomp level.
Yeah, you can definitely sink a lot of time in that level. It's one of the longest ones, but I decided making the longer level as long as the long level is fine. I really wanted them to be epic levels. So anyway, which one was -1? I believe this one was 2-1. Let's play this one first.
So that was map 2 there, right, that you could see with the white. So basically what I did was just, instead of using the actual sky tile set for 3D World, I decided to just make every zone be feel like a sky level, just by the way I used the wall blocks.
I just forgot those 2 coins. You're gonna have to take a reset door. Again. I was talking too much about green mushrooms, so I didn't get everything. I think you can get the green mushroom while getting.
Anyways, you could see me collecting all of the green mushrooms during this event of me playing through my Super World. I figured my Super World is old enough that I might as well do something like this. So I'm going to continue playing through my Super World. So if you guys want to play it yourselves and you're struggling on it, then you can watch me play it. So that is an option now that you'll have. See, so you can see me collect that green mushroom. Anyways, yeah, I'll collect all 3 of them in every single level, and I've already played through the first 10 levels, but I have another 30 to go. So you could watch this highlight and see I spent about 70 minutes or so playing the first 2 maps. Anyway, is there any more Mario Maker? Yeah, there is. There's more. Alright, and these are highlights, by the way. I played for most of these games. There's more gameplay than what you'll see in the highlights. Or, well, definitely that's true for Mario Maker.
Why can't you set it up so we go into a door first? It's faster to take a door than it is a pipe.
So, yeah, for example, I played a lot of the Pepanga levels. This was a troll level, I guess you could call it.
Come on!
Apparently, according to the comments, there was an easy mode for this level, but I didn't do it. I spent like 42 minutes doing the precision requirement to beat the level, which would basically be considered the hard mode of it. I was also talking a little bit about differences between Mario Maker and Levelhead when it comes to precision. I was talking about how avoiding to collect gems is much harder in Levelhead, but in general, precision is a lot easier in level head because you have significantly more control over how your character moves when you're jumping around and falling down and stuff. Anyways, eventually I beat this. So if you get this far, you've won as long as you don't panic and use your head. There's like a little bit of a puzzle at the end, which I solved on the first try, so that's good. I didn't give it a like, though, because I didn't think it deserved one. Because it's just a precision level, you know? Precision levels are usually just, like, completely unfair, blah, 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 but I still want to practice them to try to build respect for myself within the community, I suppose. Apparently there's lots of Team Precision members that don't like a lot of their own team's levels. I didn't realize that was actually the case, but apparently it is. But there's still a better chance that they'll like stuff, but anyway, that doesn't mean they will just because they're in the team. Anyway, this was just like a typical Ghost House level that you might expect Nintendo to make, theoretically, so it was not that hard of a level, the first clear. But yeah, this was a highlight of a first clear. I tend to highlight a lot of my first clears, regardless of whether or not the level's all that great or not. Anyway, there's a bunch more like that, I think, probably. Well, yeah, I just don't know how many of them happened recently. I spent some time playing this, and although I did not beat the level, I feel like I got far enough within a little under 12 minutes. I decided to turn it into a highlight. I'd played this level before, so I left it in the list because I wanted to try it again. And as you can see, I got all the way to this guy, who took a really long time to beat. I actually want to see. Let's review how long it took me to beat Roy. So we got to Roy at 375. And I beat him at about 145. So 375 to 145. That's 230 seconds. That means it took me about 4 minutes to beat Roy. It took me 4 minutes to beat Roy. Because he refused to come back here. So I could actually jump on him. See, I'm stuck in the middle. And he can go to any of these rectangle rooms. And he never comes back to the middle one for like the longest time. So yeah, that was tiresome and irritating and really disrespectful of the player. Or maybe I just got supremely unlucky, but either way, after that, I just about immediately died to Morton, and I was like, yeah, I guess I'm out for now. I left it in the list though, but I probably won't be playing this again until the viewer comes back.
Oh no, dude, that Morton battle. Oh my goodness, I can see why nobody's beating this kid. So you know how much of an asshole Roy is. That battle.
Anyway, yeah, so I guess I extended the highlight to the part where Roy is being mean, so if I were to export this to YouTube, I would probably do some video editing, so that way we could skip some of the me kind of doing nothing but talking parts. Anyways, next Mario Maker highlight. Wait, why is this labeled as Mario Maker 2? I probably should edit this. Because apparently this is League of Legends. Sometimes when I change the category to League of Legends, it doesn't work. In fact, well, on a Saturday when I guess Twitch was like disconnecting my stream, it kept resetting my category to nothing, so I had to change a bunch of these highlights to League of Legends. Anyways, I guess I'll go ahead and hit the refresh button. Where were we? Okay. Wait, what? Okay, I was up to here. Yeah. First clearing a garbage level. So this one was another really rude, disrespectful maker advantage level. This one was different though. Instead of there being like a battle in the middle of a boss rush that was really rude, it was like collecting all 4 red coins was uh actually pretty easy once you figured out what you needed to do. They were a little bit puzzly maybe or not, depending on how you look at it. I got a little bit stuck on one of them, but not really any of the others. But they're all pretty easy. I think I was just being incredibly dumb at one point or another. Anyway, so I probably wasn't uh, performing at my best mentally that day. But either way, and it ended up taking me a little over half an hour to beat the level, it looks like. Because after you collect all 4 red coins, first of all, I don't remember whether your coins are saved or not. I don't think that's relevant. They probably aren't. No, they are. Okay. Yeah, your coins are definitely saved. But the problem is your reward for getting all the red coins is like this really savage, uh, risky key death. And honestly, I don't mind risky key deaths, but this level's potential key death took me quite a few tries to actually master. Cause okay, I just want to show you guys the room. It's really confusing and it has like naked pipes and stuff. So basically, your goal is to defeat all of the winged bullies in this room. So that's all 3 of them here. I was not aware of at the time whether or not I needed to defeat all 3 of them, but I could easily guess that that was the case. And I certainly was trying to defeat all 3 of them from the beginning. Although I can imagine some people maybe would only try to defeat one and then go through the door, which I actually did at one point. But that was only because I knew I wasn't going to be able to get back to where the power-ups were during that particular life, so I figured why not. Because it's actually pretty hard with like the icicles falling down, because then you take damage due to it. This particular part is going to be kind of frustrating for a lot of people, I think. Even I found that somewhat frustrating, so like maneuvering as a big Luigi up over the mystery block is not easy to do. And then the other room with the rocket hat, or whatever you want to call it, was a little bit precise. Not nothing to brag about if you can beat it, but like definitely something that you can expect to accidentally fail every once in a while. So anyway, enough of that. So but yeah, if you go to the end, of course, then you'll see I eventually beat it. And you can watch all of my moves yourselves if you want. Next up for Mario Maker, we've got Nope, that's the last highlight. Okay. I didn't play a whole lot recently. I did get COVID-19 recently, so I wasn't playing a whole lot of platformers. And then after I had COVID, I kind of just got swept up in trying to rank up in League. So I'm going to be playing a lot of League Legends moving forward. My stream name has been Ray Team Strategy for a while, so it would be weird if I wasn't playing League of Legends or Pokemon Unite or Heroes of the Storm or Dota 2, like ever. Anyway, so the next game in the highlights, what I believe was Final Fantasy VII Remake. So let's check these highlights out. So I was playing oh, I need to do some laundry. Let's see here. So there was a lot of battling in this particular highlight. We were trying to go through some story. There's like a train graveyard, I think, and there was a bunch of ghosts in there. And then we were trying to get to the plate. We were climbing stairs and stuff. There weren't really all that many stairs compared to the senior building that we'll get to later. Anyways, you could say I'm not really very good at the game yet, but whatever. Yeah, so by the end of it, we get to this scene. So that's how far I got on that day, January 21st. And then on the 23rd, I started playing the game again. But that's weird. Why is the title of the highlight not working? There we go. Or not loading, I guess I should say. I was making some comments on the dialogue. In the section, I noticed some errors. It seemed like every chapter had at least one dialogue error. So if you want to find out about the dialogue errors in Final Fantasy VII Remake, you can listen to me point them out with my editor brain. Oh yeah, I was using the nail bat, I believe that was called. It looks so ugly. So I made sure I learned the ability on it very quickly by just spamming it with my ATB. It's kind of interesting how in Final Fantasy VII Remake, it's actually much easier to learn the abilities for your weapons than it is in Final Fantasy IX. Like in Final Fantasy IX, you actually have to earn ability points by fighting lots of battles, whereas in Final Fantasy VII Remake, all you have to do is just keep spamming the abilities, which just takes time during battles, so you can just commit some time, especially during the easier battles. It's convenient to just spam the abilities because it doesn't matter whether or not it's potent timing or whatever, or potent targets for the abilities. You just got to use them. Anyways, so because the events of the pillar happened earlier, our characters lost access to Eris for battling, and so yeah, we got separated from her, and that's why the title of the highlights like this. And there's a conversation between Cloud and Tifa, and there was a nice moment where they hugged and stuff. You can go check that out yourself if you want. Let's see, what was the next highlight? I believe that was the 23rd. So we've got the 28th is next time I played Final Fantasy VII Remake. So this was where we kind of entered the side quest chapter, I guess. So I just kind of ran around and I kind of was rescuing some chocobos. That was the main thing that I wanted to do. And that was really cool because we managed to unlock free traveling, free fast travel, so that was nice. I also tried to fight Leviathan, but I kept getting wrecked by him. But eventually I beat him. I decided to do some of these battles before I came back for Leviathan, and I did great on these battles. So these battles were with the sort of substitute for the battle arena that was in Gold Saucer in the original Final Fantasy VII. So in this case, they have it in Midgar, and that's pretty cool. I liked these battles. There was a neat addition to the FF7. I'm not as big of a fan of the summons, but I don't mind that they put them in there, because then they can get gameplay feedback from the community, and they could theoretically change them if they want to in future games. We also encountered her, so we were able to teleport back to her after we were done with her, the mission that was involving her. She's basically, like, the way I look at this person, she's kind of like a cuter version of Yuffie. So that's kind of interesting that they designed this character and put her in the game.
I believe her name is Olga from One Way Heroics.
One Way Heroics is another cool RPG that I play sometimes. It's actually a roguelike, which is pretty fun. So yeah, she reminds me of a character that you can recruit for your battle party, basically. The Rail or whatever her name is. We should just call her Millie. Anyway, so that was the 28th. I only spent doing that like a couple of hours, but then the next day we spent like 5 hours doing side quests, I guess. So I was doing more of this battling, of course, because, well, I wasn't done, just because I accomplished her mission. We were also talking to that guy because I was trying to sort of progress the story. So we're doing like story progression battles too a little bit here. And then I came back to fight Leviathan instead of continuing to progress the story because I really wanted to beat him. And eventually I got him. But he really started fighting hard towards the end, but it was fine. I was able to handle it this time. I had a really interesting battle set up. I'm not sure if it was similar to what you guys used to beat him, or if you were around the same level as I was or not. But definitely I had some struggling because it was my first time beating him.
He was like immune to a lot of our attacks. Now we really are working for Wutai Kappa.
Yeah.
We have Leviathan now, which is obviously epic.
So because Leviathan, his lore is related to Wutai, that's why I made that joke. So around 4 hours and 50 minutes or so, you see me finalizing my build, I guess, for the Leviathan battle. So you can check that out at the timestamp I just gave you. Alright, so... And then I spent some time on the 31st playing as well. So we're definitely going to be coming back to this soon. In fact, we might play this today. But let's go ahead and check out the last highlight for Final Fantasy VII Remake. So this was the beginning of the story progression after defeating Leviathan here. Basically, this is us climbing up the wall. In the original, you actually had to use batteries when you're climbing up the wall, and you could use those to pass. And you had to buy them from the weapons shop or whatever. It was a little bit complicated. Anyways, it didn't really take me that long to get through here, apparently. Actually it took me about an hour plus.
Where was I?
I spent like 6 hours playing this. So my perception of how much time passes changes because the time bar is always the same size, regardless of how much time I spend during the stream. So I was getting lost a lot. I was getting frustrated, as you can see. These 3D worlds are a little bit overwhelming sometimes. I'm not sure why I closed the game. I might have been having sound issues. I recently got some new headphones, and sometimes the cord gets a little bit unplugged on one of 3 different ends, or 3 different points, I guess I should say, in the middle, on the TV or on the headphones itself. So, and sometimes I just am a little bit slow to realize that it can get slightly disconnected from one of those points and don't really check all 3 like I should. But now I'm gonna do a lot better about that moving forward. Like sometimes I can't hear anything in one ear because of that, and I'm like confused because I did have a broken eardrum recently, and I was wondering if my eardrum broke or not again, but it hasn't, so it's been fine. But I'm having some technical difficulties. Anyway, so we're climbing up the tower during this, and I grind out a lot of this, and eventually we meet up with Eris and Red. So yeah, that's how far I've got. Is we met up to have the initial
Plus 24, which is pretty incredible.
reacquisition of Eris, and we got to see like what sorts of weapon upgrades she has and stuff. Probably should rewind that a little bit. So yeah, we made it to this point in the story, and I haven't really moved from this room yet. So that's where we'll be when we get back to that game. Alright, so next up we'll watch some League of Legends stuff. And then after that will be Levelhead. So there will only be 4 games that we are reviewing. Wait, no. Maybe before we do League of Legends, we should check out, before I forget, that is. There's one other game I want to show off. It's a puzzle game, and this won't take very long. I didn't make any highlights of it because this was me playing off stream. But because a lot of my League gameplay is off stream, like reviews, there's some of these highlights, like replay reviews. I figure we might as well start off with a different game, doing the replays, other off stream stuff. So switch gaming with camera. So Hexceed is a puzzle game I've been playing. I'll show the game briefly to you, and then we'll exit out and show you guys some short little videos. I'm just going to postpone that code because it's showing up on viewer levels. I don't remember if I beat that or not, so figure that out later. What was I doing? Oh, I was just gonna show you real briefly the game, how far I've gotten. So there are 9 worlds in Hexceed, and I'm on the second world. The first world is actually a tutorial world, right? So there are like sort of like checkpoint puzzles that you can do. So if you click on this, you'll start over and you get to do it again. So you can actually share this puzzle game with other people if you want, so they can play whatever puzzle they want, which is pretty cool, even after you've already beaten it. But levels that you haven't beaten yet, they will see you like in the middle of the puzzle. So you probably recommend that they don't do any of the white puzzles, they just do like the color filled in ones. So that way they don't do your puzzle for you if you're sharing this game with someone. Anyway, it's a pretty fun puzzle game, and each of these hexagons are their own individual puzzle, and they're not randomized at all. So as a result, the default setting isn't that you get defeated and have to restart if you make a mistake. Also, a lot of the times my mistakes are just simple misclicks, and other times I'm just being incredibly dumb, and I don't really mind the feeling of that I don't have to restart when I'm really dumb, and I can just reanalyze my mistake. But like, so the interesting thing about this game is if you wanted to cheese it really hard and just not use your brain to try to beat the levels, you can actually do that if you want. But I have not been doing that personally. But so if you guys are not as big of a fan of puzzle games, but for some reason you're obligated to play this game for some reason, then you can take advantage of that, which is kind of interesting because you can't do something like that in a game like Minesweeper as an example. So just throwing that out there. Even like Minesweeper Genius, when you die and it restarts the level is randomized again based on certain parameters. Like, it's different from this game. Anyway, let's go ahead and show you the videos. So there's not that many of them. I have like 2 30-second videos because I haven't converted these into shorter videos yet. I'm not sure if I will. But anyway, let's watch the ones that are less than 30 seconds. So this was a pretty big one. This must have been one of the checkpoint levels, otherwise it wouldn't be so big. There's probably like the tutorial final level or something like that, I would imagine, since it's green instead of yellow hexagons. But anyway, this shows your progression throughout the puzzle, is basically what these replays do. Well, this is after you beat the level, this is the animation that you are rewarded with. And so I just, use the screenshot button on the Switch to record it. So this is another level. This was in World 2, so this is after you beat the tutorial world. And then there's this one. So you can rewind and pause or whatever for these if you guys want. I'm not going to keep replaying these. So you can do that yourselves if you want here. So yeah, these are all like World 2 puzzles from here on out because I haven't gotten to World 3 yet. I'm getting super close though. We're almost done with World 2. I'm actually going through and doing all of the side puzzles. Yeah, these are just some samples of some of the levels I decided to record. There's way more puzzles than just this. These are some of the ones that I thought might be more visually impressive for some people to watch who haven't ever played the game. I think this is another one of the checkpoint levels. And then there were 2 30-second ones that I haven't trimmed up yet, so I guess we won't show those off. Anyway. Oops. So I've been enjoying playing that game off stream, and So later, when I do want to play on stream a puzzle game, I'm probably gonna play some Burnstar and or what was the other game I've been playing? Rabbids Kingdom Battle, a Mario game. So that's actually pretty fun too. I may or may not play some more Greek on stream. I don't know. I might just continue to play it off stream. I actually don't mind the game, but it's a little. Actually, no, I got stuck on it. Now I think about it again. It reminds me of Zelda because the story progression can get confusing at times. So I'm basically stumped on this game right now. I might end up looking up a guide online or something to figure that out, but yeah, so, yeah, that game's a struggle. As for other games I might play moving forward, I might play Bloodstained 2, or Curse of the Moon, or whatever it was called. Curse of the Moon 2. Yeah, I might play it. This is just the first one that I already beat. I haven't finished with QV yet, and apparently there's a mode past hard mode that I haven't unlocked yet, so when I beat hard mode, it should unlock that other mode. So you guys can look forward to me potentially streaming the QV mode, which is past the hard mode. Anyway, I guess this is enough talking about some of the off-stream stuff that I have been doing over the many months. Anyways, so let's get back to the reviews, the Twitch channel reviews scene. So League of Legends was the next game we were going to look over, and then we're going to look over Levelhead after that. And then this video will be done. So I did some replay reviews on January 23rd. I guess I only spent 12 minutes doing that, unless I trimmed this the wrong way. Part of the reason why this might have been so short was because I may have been just talking about some of these replays instead of going in and watching them. Also, there probably just weren't very many replays to look at in the first place. Anyway, this was maybe the beginning of me trying to do this, and I was probably mostly just doing this for my own sake instead of like giving people a good review of the games in particular. But yeah, this was me mostly just playing top lane Teemo. So then we have a specific game highlighted that took like 47 minutes. All things included, including post-game lobby chat and like being in the lobby or something like that. I was playing against Tom Kench. I don't remember if I won or lost. I think for my top lane games, I'm being potentially more willing to record those games into highlights, even if I lose, maybe. I'm not sure. Definitely a support. It's kind of a little less likely. Even if it's a win that I didn't like, I also might not highlight it. But I don't know. Like, whatever I think is a good game, hopefully I'll be highlighting that. Anyway, so I actually died to him here. When I was 3-2-1, and then I got an assist because my jungle came and finished him off. So that was nice timing. I was stealing some enemy jungle camps, as you can see, doing that quite a bit throughout the game, trying to make it life harder for the enemy jungle. And then he like arranged some ganks for me. Because I was stealing them a little bit too much, perhaps. Being a little too predictable, maybe. And not as unstoppable as I would have liked. I got killed nearby Elder Dragon trying to ward it. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that happened to this game. We're 38 minutes into the timer for the game, but I've spent 43 minutes on the game because of course it like takes like 5 minutes to start these games because of the drafting and such. So our Warwick actually gave up playing the game, which was kind of weird. He was actually playing really well, and then he just wasn't trying anymore. The ironic thing is, he didn't get auto-punished. Instead, our Misfortune got auto-punished because she got tired of Warwick giving up, and she just straight up left the game, so she got auto-punished. So the punishment system in these games doesn't really work very good. So they do give you a report system so you can report people. I don't know how well that works. Anyways, because I think what needs to happen is the people that review the reports need to go in and watch the replays and confirm whether or not the report is true, and then they can act upon it. But I don't know if that actually happens. I feel like it probably doesn't. Anyway, then we have me playing with Electrocute Senna for the first time. So this was during a time where actually good channels were talking about Glacial Augment Senna having been changed. And Riot also talking about that. And Riot actually gave Senna compensation buffs for her losing access to a Glacial Augment Keystone that I never took on her. Like, when other people were taking Glacial Augment, when all Glacial Augment did was slow people when you attack them, like, I was taking Grasp of the Undying on Senna instead. Because I thought it was just significantly more useful. But now that she did get this buff, I had already, before this buff happened, I went to the new Glacial Augment and used it sometimes as Senna, and enjoyed it a lot. Although sometimes I had allies that would rage quit because they think I'm trolling for grabbing Glacial Augment on Senna. They said it doesn't work on her, which makes zero sense, because the new Glacial Augment is based on you immobilizing the enemy, and Senna can immobilize the enemy by using her W. So it's 3 seconds of slowing power for landing your W on somebody. And I felt it was worth taking the Keystone because I can definitely snare somebody like 90+% of the time with my W's that I shoot out. And it has a much lower cooldown than 20 seconds, which is well under the threshold for activating your Glacial Augment. Not only that, but she also has a shielding on her ultimate to amplify the effects of Glacial Augment. When your ally is standing in the frost, they take 15% reduced damage, so having a shield means you have an empowered shield. So on a champion like Lux, for example, it's super good because you can then cast your W. You can like level up your W to like level 5 now if you're running Glacial Augment early, which is what I recommend if you're running Glacial Augment on Lux. If you're running something else like Summon Airy or Comet or whatever, then I do not recommend leveling up Shield first. But if you're running Glacial Augment, that is a great excuse to level up your Shield first. If you are playing with somebody like Zeri, though, then regardless of your Keystone, you still might want to level up your Shield first because she might benefit more from it than other champions because she gets movement speed. And so, yeah, with that movement speed, she might find herself getting into trouble and taking more damage than she usually would, so having more HP on that shield would be useful. Anyway, and if it lowers the cooldown, then that's even better, but I don't remember if Lux's W cooldown gets lowered or not, because I just kind of max it out, so I don't like every single game, so unless I run Summon Airy for some reason, so and anyway, I usually don't spam it except for like maybe in late game when I have tons of mana. Anyway, moving forward. That was me playing. Okay, so early on I get 102 on Senna. I guess that's enough chatting about item builds for now. So wait a minute. No, there's still some more things I need to talk about. So this was the Senna buff, right? So she had been buffed. Her Q now slows the enemy by a small amount, but it's still an appreciable amount, and it's very good, especially if you got lots of items on her. Excuse me. Like, imagine if Ezreal's Q got a free Iceborne Gauntlet effect, like the old school Iceborne Gauntlet. That's how it feels to play Senna right now with the new buff. So it's really cool. Like, I don't think she needed the buff, but I'm glad she has it. But they have in response nerfed her, but this game was before they nerfed her. So they nerfed her mist gathering rate. So if you're taking Relic Shield, or if you've finished your income item mission, then you're going to feel the effects. Or I shouldn't say Relic Shield. I meant to say Steel Shoulder Guards. Well, you might still decide to go AP on Senna, but I wouldn't really recommend it. But you can do it if you want. It's not garbage, but it's not good either. If you buy just AP items because you want those particular AP items, that's completely fine on Senna. Her AP scaling is not super trash like it is on Ornn. It's just not recommended to build full AP. I've theorized full AP builds for her. I haven't like all-in on it personally, so I don't know for sure if AP Senna is bad, but it's definitely not good. I can guarantee you that. It could be average, but I suspect it's probably below average. Anyways, but yeah, if you just buy regular AP items just because you want those individual AP items inside your typically AD build, that's more than fine. I've had tons of success buying Moonstone, for example, on her. So go for it. If you want to buy a Banshee's Veil in a random game, buy the Banshee's Veil. No problem. The AP is not going to hold you back. It's just a single item. I super recommend you buying AP items that you want. Like if you wanted the Zonias for whatever reason, I don't know why you would want that, but if you do, go ahead and buy it. Anyway, so the new Electrocute was basically in response to if they're slowed, I have more time to attack them, so I can activate it. It's a little tricky to activate it, not going to lie. But if the opponents don't have much dashing abilities, then I think Electrocute on Senna is good. Like, maybe top tier, if they don't have the dashes to get away from your third attack. So, like, Kraken Slayer is so good because you don't have to attack 3 times within a short amount of time, like Electrocute. With Kraken Slayer, it doesn't care who you're attacking. It's just every third of your attacks, then you trigger your damage. So that's why, historically speaking, Kraken Slayer has been amazing on Senna. So Electrocute is sort of like in a gimmicky spot where it kind of only works on her for the most part because she has the slowing on Q. Like, you could have theoretically used Electrocute before the slowing on Q, but in that case, you're kind of relying on landing your W to actually pull it off. So, honestly, I probably could have made it work back in the day, but now there's more incentive for people to actually dodge my W, so I don't know if that would affect my accuracy with my W or not if I went Electrocute, but I would assume that perhaps it would. Whereas if I'm going Grasp, they might underestimate my damage output and might be more considerate allowing me to hit them with my snare. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I should have tried Electrocute. But either way, I didn't feel like there was enough incentive to run it. But now that I can slow, I feel like there is enough incentive to run it. I guess what I'm trying to say is Electrocute is probably top 3, one of her best keystones right now, in my opinion. But I think it's because she gets so much bonus attack damage compared to other champs that she's going to get more value out of Electrocute than average. But I guess you could say the same thing about, like, the other stuff, like Summon Airy, for example. Summon Airy is probably better now than ever. Like, why not go Summon Airy, right? So, and plus, also, now that I think about it, I think Summon Airy, much like the other abilities, it scales with your AP and your AD. And for your shielding, that's actually really impactful. It means you can buy AP shielding items and stuff and not feel bad about it because it's going to apply to the AP is going to apply to your Airy, and that's going to be bigger shields. So you can have big shields if you want to do AP Senna with Airy. So that's probably going to be my recommendation. If you wanted to go try full AP Senna, you'd probably want Summon Airy as a keystone. I would imagine that you can be like full-on hardcore support champion. Feel more like Soraka, I guess, in that case. Anyways, enough talking about Senna, I guess. Let's just try to rush through these highlights. So we have January 27th replay reviews highlight. So it actually took me like 4 hours to go through these replays because there must have been like 20 of them or something like that, I imagine. So in this particular game, I was playing as Pyke. I don't remember if I won or lost. Whoops, I guess I skipped past that part. Maybe I shouldn't be watching at 2x speed if it's a replay review. It looks like things were going fine. We're 0-0-2, 8 minutes in. Yeah, so this was still when I was winning as Pyke. Recently, I kept playing him and I have started losing, so I've kind of stopped playing him again. I think it's because a lot of babies are playing bottom right now and they want to play Zeri and they don't know how Pyke works, blah blah blah. And someone will ban Zeri and they don't even play Zeri and you forget that they exist, blah blah blah. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, so there were a lot of games here. I should probably like make the screen bigger so we don't skip forward as far. Oh, we had a Braum game with the Tristana that I'm not sure how it went. But we had multiple Tristana games with Braum recently. I've played like 3 of them. The third one that I played was an absolute disaster because the person had no idea what Braum does, and she was also apparently not the best player on Tristana either, for that matter. So that was weird. You have a replay of me picking up another kill on Pyke like a pro. I rewinded it so you guys could see the full thing. So yeah, if you want to watch me do these replay reviews, I do a pretty good job of finding what's interesting to watch and talking about it. So if you guys are new to League, I definitely recommend checking some of this stuff out. Even if it's just like while you want to do multiple things, maybe listen to it while you're doing something else. And then if something sounds interesting, then you can like maybe pause it and rewind a little bit and go look at it in detail. I was also spending some time playing top lane, of course. So what I've been doing lately is I've mostly been doing support top, but at some point or another I might have been doing top support as far as like what I try to play. Anyways, what I want to observe is that during the weekends, my chances of winning as support go down, and my chances of winning as top lane go up during the weekends. But then when I try to play top lane during the week, my chances of winning go down again. So I've decided to do support top during the week and top support during the weekend. and it seems to be working out pretty good for now. That might change if there's like a new patch day or something like that, and then it might become like a weekend day or something. Or I don't know what happens on patch day, but maybe got to be a little bit more flamboyant when that happens. I might start trying out some experimental stuff with jungle and mid lane moving forward at some point or another, but I want to at least get to silver, at least into mid silver before I start doing too much experimentation, because I'm sure I can get to silver just doing support top, so I just gotta grind out those games. So where was I? That was January 27th replay reviews. Then we have a 28th one. This was only 2.5 hours of me reviewing replays. So in this particular game, I was actually Teemo top. I don't know why it shows me as being bottom. Or was I Teemo bottom? I think I have done some off-meta supports, but this was not one of those games. Oh, Nautilus, I remember. Nautilus was trolling us. Okay, no, I remember what happened. I was assigned support, but Nautilus was assigned top lane, and Nautilus asked for support. So this was not me playing off-meta support, because I actually didn't play off-meta Teemo support recently, but I did do something else off-meta. Oh, it was Ashe. I tried Ashe support, and someone rage quit on me. So I stopped playing Ashe after the one game, because I was like, okay, this is not worth it. Even if it's only 50% of the time, if someone rage quitting, I don't want to play the champion ranked. It's just stupid. I'm just lowering my LP for no reason. Maybe when I get to gold or something like that, I'll actually be allowed to play Ashe support, but in bronze, I'm not really allowed to, so. Anyway, so that game didn't go very well because the Nautilus was trolling. Most of my losses in bronze are due to somebody getting mad and trolling. And who knows why they get mad, it really doesn't matter. But people are very emotional. They let their negative emotions ruin the game for everybody. And it happens a ton in bronze. So I was like analyzing mistakes that people make a bit here and there. And a lot of what happens in these losses, and it depends from game to game, but in that replay, probably what you saw was people just running away for no reason. In this case, I was a support brand. It doesn't really show like my score during these replays. So if you guys are more curious about this kind of stuff, you're gonna have to like find those points where I actually pull up the scoreboard or whatever. There it is. So I'm 7-2-13. And this was me getting Crown of the Shattered Queen on brand. And I feel like it did pretty well protecting him. So it seems like a pretty viable mythic on him, to be honest. Not sure if it's actually in my item build currently or not, but it probably is. I have lots of different item build theories on a lot of champions, and I bounce around between different things that I want to play, whether something's good or not. Doesn't necessarily mean I won't try it. Anyway, we end up winning this game, but it takes a while. And then we have me playing Thresh, and we are not up against Ascena for this particular game, so I'm not sure how this goes. But we're off to a decent start, I guess. The opponents did take the first Drake, which is not good, but if we take later dragons, then we might have a better chance of winning. We do get the second dragon, but I don't know if we end up losing a lot for it or not. Might be the case. Well, it sounds like I lost the game. Yeah, I remember the Riven had a big attitude problem. I don't remember what she was going on about, to be honest. Oh, I think if I remember right, oh, this was a Riven that hated that I did not have Flash. So, like, from the very beginning, she was raging at me, apparently. She was, like, telling me that I have barrier or exhaust or something like that instead of Flash. And she like, pinged, like, my entire build. She would, like, ping everything she could ping, like, all my items, all my summer spells, my keystone. Like, I think she even pinged my secondary rune choice or whatever, which I don't remember what it was. It was probably sorcery. Not like it really matters. Um, it could have been precision, and she still would have pinged it, so it doesn't really matter what it was. Um, anyways, she was spending more time raging than actually playing the game, so that was a problem. Like, it was at the point where it was toxic enough that she could have easily made other people quit playing the game or taking it seriously as well, or just stress them out too much to not allow them to play normally. So either way, that bitch needs to be banned from the game. Anyways, like, she shouldn't be allowed to play. She's just too toxic. Um. Anyways, I'm Karma here. I don't remember if we win or lose. I think I picked her to counter Yasuo, perhaps. I think we had a trash Varus player, though. I don't remember a single good Varus player that I've had in recent times. Yeah, so I lost this game because our Varus was garbage. I don't know, understand why there's so many bad Varus players, but there are. He's probably not in a very good spot balance-wise, to be honest. He doesn't really benefit from critical strike, unlike most marksmen, and I think most people don't want to build AP on him. It's like against their religion or something. I guess it doesn't help that there aren't any items that provide AD and AP, because those would help out Varus a lot, I feel like. They used to exist. There was like Gunblade and like Rageblade, and that was about it. Now we have nothing. We don't even have Gunblade anymore. The closest thing we have to the old Gunblade is Riftmaker, I guess. And it doesn't provide any AD, so. But Riftmaker might actually be Varus' best mythic, perhaps. I don't know. Because I think he gets a lot of damage from his W, so he could get healed off of that. Especially if it becomes true damage, blah blah blah. So we have a game where we have Samira and Senna, so you'd think this would go really well, because she would probably end up diving in and like using your close range abilities, empowered range abilities, and I would be able to heal her and damage the enemy. But she probably wasn't playing very good, so I don't know if this translated to a win or a loss. You guys could find out yourselves if I end up skipping past that. We were up against a Zeri. Oh yeah, it was the top lane Zeri. Look how high her score is. She's probably too much for us to handle. Zeri's been a very volatile champion since she was released. Uh, at least in bronze, all the bottom lane Zeris have been trash. Every single one of them, I think. Even the ones that were on the opponent's team. I definitely haven't had a single good Zeri team or player on my team. I think this is the one game where I've had one decent Zeri in all of the bronze games I've played. So anyway, I wasn't in Iron when Zeri came out. I was already in Bronze. Because they started me in Iron this season. For some reason, I don't know why, because I was Silver last season. You don't need to reset me that low. Seems a bit dumb, but whatever. Anyway, yeah, I don't like the fact that they reset ranks. I think it's kind of toxic for the game, personally.
Not sure what happened there, but apparently I got
Because it ends up there's too much variance in the skill levels between players.
pretty much the end of the game. It stretches out for a little bit longer, but it's not much to see. Alright, next game, I was a Zera. Actually,
So I won as Pike, I won as
alright,
Zyra.
next game, I was a Zera.
Wait, was that Zyra versus the Zeri?
Probably wasting the open.
I don't know.
The team was just kind of
I was like talking about Zeri, and all of a sudden I'm. No, I was Senna. No, I wasn't. No, I was on Zeri's team. Okay, I guess I got a little confused. I guess it's, I thought I was Senna. I was
exposed inhib.
super duper dumb. Why would I think I was Senna? I never go ignite on Senna. Yeah, I guess I wasn't paying attention, and I forgot I even played Zyra recently.
Either way,
So there's that. Um, yeah, so I went Imperial Mandate and Armor Boots,
obviously hot stuff. So
and I was going for a Zonia. I don't know if I finished or not, blah, blah, blah.
this is me using the sand skin.
And then the next game I was Pike.
The team was just kind of sort of get that draft. Oh, like it really matters. And so was Draven.
And then there was the Xerath game, Xerath support. I'm actually open to the idea of playing Xerath middle. Like if I get filled middle or something, or if I make it as my secondary or something, and I start playing him, mid lane, I might start playing Xerath or Brand. I do think Brand, thanks to this latest buff that he got with his ultimate, I think it's worth playing in middle now. Because if he gets attacked by two people, then his ultimate can bounce between them. Whereas before, it was bouncing off of Brand sometimes, or a lot of the time, like if he's too close to the enemy. Which is silly, because you want to be close because you want to be able to stun them more easily. So it's kind of made no sense to make it so Brand has to walk away if he uses his R, or it'll bounce to him. It was just ridiculous, so they changed that. So it was sort of like, I don't know, I kind of almost want to say that's a glitch fix. But I think it's just they simply, like, whoever was making the change to allow it to bounce to him, they did it for the sake of improving his 1 versus 1 potential, but it took away from his 1 versus 2 potential. And the latest balance change on Brand changed that. So what I'm saying is, now that that patch has come out, I think it's worth playing Brand middle for sure now. And so I might play Brand and or Xerath middle if I get it. So I'm actually still only like Mastery level 3 with Xerath, I think, because I've barely been playing him at all. But I've been doing pretty good as him because I've played against him so much in lane, because Xerath support's been pretty popular. And I did play some games against him middle too, for what it's worth, as well as have watched other people play against him middle too on stream. So anyway, I guess you could say my observations have accelerated my learning on that champion. So I play as if I'm a level 5 Mastery champ on Xerath, even though I'm only Mastery level 3. And that just happens sometimes. It usually happens with more of the popular champs, right? Champs that people spam. And sometimes people don't learn very well from observations. I think that's one of my strong suits when it comes to my intelligence, is I guess I'm better at observing than other people are. I guess it's because I don't really tunnel vision, maybe, much, if at all. I think, personally, I think every person has different personalities that they can, or attitudes or whatever, that they can dip their persona into, if that makes sense. I'm not sure what I'm trying to say. Like, like I think we adapt our personalities to various circumstances and or requirements and or desires or whatever. So yeah. So this particular game, it looks like our Jinx was kind of trolling, probably. I've had a lot of people just sort of trolling against Tristana and not doing well against her.
It's actually a smart idea.
That might have been a loss. I don't know. I'm just.
They did explain to Tristana how my camping works briefly. I didn't really explain it in detail, of course, but I told her the most important things.
This might have been the loss that I had with Tristana. I think. Did we have Pike mid? No, this must have been a different game. Okay, so the previous Braum highlight that we watched was actually the one where the Braum and Tristana game went very well. This one was the one where it went mediocre, and we didn't get tons and tons of kills, but we did dominate the team fights for what it's worth, so that was okay. And then the third Braum game that I played, it was the disaster, so that's coming up yet. I'm trying to remember when I had my first loss with Pike, and I'm not really sure, but it probably wasn't this game. Because I remember usually in my losses, like, the opponents have too much damage, my allies are, like, relentlessly feeding, and I'm constantly outnumbered, and I obviously wasn't outnumbered during that battle. So there's no way this was a loss. I don't think I've won since my first loss with Pike either, so... like, it's feast or famine on Pike, really. And that's literally just because people are, like, trolling the team and not for any other reason, as far as I could tell. I think Pike is a strong champion. Like, I think people could theoretically get away with playing him in Challenger if they wanted to. But they might not want to. Anyway, I'm not sure if they play him there or not, but if they do, it's probably pretty rare. Anyway,
Yeah, I was looking at the shop, which really sucked. I actually had another game that I won after this.
I think the game's balance is questionable. Personally, I don't think we have enough bans, or maybe we have just barely enough. But, like, other than champs that you would ban, like, the game feels like it's, what am I trying to say? The game feels like it's fair enough once you ban, like, all the unfair champs, basically. We could be missing, like, maybe, like, I want to say perhaps 6 more bans or so. But other than that, I feel like we have enough bans right now. Like, for me, I always ban Mordekaiser unless my team wants to play him, and we can get him. Another ban I like is Kindred, because Kindred's super annoying with Kayle, as well as lots of other really high damage champions that could really benefit from a Kayle ultimate, because it's basically what Kindred gives them. Anyway, yeah, he's basically able to cheat death, and he lets his allies cheat death too, which is pretty unfair. I had a Senna game that looks like it went pretty good. We're playing with a Draven, I think it was. I actually have not been seeing Draven much. Most of the time, I go bottom, people don't want to play him. I don't really like Draven myself, so I can't really blame the people for not picking him. But I do find it interesting the Draven player seems to be a bit more average than you would expect. Like, most of the bottom lane players that I play, because it's bronze, are, like, super below average in terms of skill. Even the ones that do pretty good, I would say, are still worse than a lot of these Draven players that I ever run into. Like, I don't think Draven's a very good champ. I think he's a below average champ, but he's played by, like, above average players, so it makes the champ look like average, I guess. Like, I'd rather play with an average teammate than someone that's below average.
And I do feel like kind of going electrocute.
Because playing with a below average teammate is just additional stress, basically, trying to like fix their mistakes and stuff.
Because when I'm going electrocute, then I just try to get as much AD as I can.
So this was another electrocute Senna game. This particular game, I went Eclipse and Bloodthirster. I'm not sure if it's what I've decided on is good or not, but apparently it worked well for this game. I might end up theory crafting just buying various items against various compositions, but we could also just do the same thing for runes. I actually have been bouncing back and forth between using multiple rune pages for a champ and using just one rune page for a champ. I ended up dying here. But we ended up winning, though, in the end, eventually. There was a Zeri on the enemy team, and she wasn't very good, blah, blah, blah. So there was a Lux game that went 32 minutes plus. I went Fairy form this time. I was Fire in a recent Lux game, too. Anyways, I'm just kind of like quickly skipping through this. If you guys want to watch the full games or the full replay review, yeah, you're gonna have to sit through the 2.5 hours. Maybe watch it at whatever speed you want, but anyway, enough of that. So that was the January 28th League of Legends highlight. Let's check out the rest of this. So we got, okay, how many more do we have? So, how many more times did I replay review? 2 more times? These replay reviews are a little bit funky because I'm trying to like sort of skip through when I'm already skipping through. So I don't know what I'm doing right now, basically. I probably am spending too long on this, but maybe I should just like pause it at the beginning and just summarize what's happened or something. So this was towards the top here. Take a brief look at that. So I played some Senna, mostly won. I was playing Lux, Lulu, maybe. Yep, something like that. So lately I've kind of transitioned. I lost a spike. I've transitioned into mostly playing Lux, Lulu, and Senna as support, and not really much of anything else, because other things just aren't working as well.
Which I've been habitually casting,
So I'm not sure what I was checking out exactly. Anyway, that was February 1st. Next up, we have February 4th replay reviews.
Okay, so back enemies, theoretically.
So I was playing Lux again.
2 of his allies have already died, and then I die shortly afterwards because he simply doesn't go in.
So this is us playing with a Zeri. So I have a shielding champ. Wait, no, I was Ash. Wait. That was the next. Zeri both games. No. Wait. Yeah. I mean. Yeah. So there was 3 games here that I looked at real quick, and I skipped past one of them. This was the Ash game that I was talking about. So I wanted to play Lethal Tempo because Lethal Tempo has been buffed. And I didn't know, like, other than Teemo top, where else I would play Lethal Tempo. I think, like, Samira bottom would be fine. But, like, I don't really want to play bottom. I want to play support. So I tried Ashe support. And honestly, Ashe support should be great. But the problem is the chances of your teammate rage quitting are extremely high. They're so much higher than even just playing Pyke support. And it's actually pretty freaking high as Pyke support. Chance that somebody will rage quit. I'm not gonna lie. Like, there's so many people that don't know the first thing about Pike that they should know, which is his ultimate doubles the bounty and shares it with his teammate. Like, people don't know that about Pike, and they just think you're just playing some, like, assassin, like Rengar or something like that. And they think you're dumb because you're not doing enough damage to the enemy, and all you're doing is stunning the enemy, or whatever. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I started doing this thing with Lux, I'm not sure when, where I prioritize summoner spells that have low cooldowns. So I go Barrier and Ignite on her. Not because I like Ignite, but just because it has a really low cooldown. And it's been working pretty good. Because I combo it with the rune and Inspiration alongside Glacial Augment. It's like the ability haste on the summoner spells in particular. So I get to use the Ignite a lot more often, basically, if I want to. Same for Barrier. There's been a lot of people playing Ahri, and not all of them have been good. This is me playing as Senna. I was doing Electrocute again, apparently. And then I was playing as Senna again. Especially for some of these losses, I go through them pretty quick sometimes. I've been trying to be better about going through my replay reviews, because I've been playing so much League. Like, a lot of these times I'm going through like 20 replays at a time. And so sometimes I just kind of rush through a lot of the games that aren't as interesting, whether it's a win or a loss. Looks like I was playing an Ornn game that probably didn't go very well. And if you want to hear what happened, what went wrong, you can go check that out. Blah, blah, blah. Then I was playing some Lulu with some Misfortune. Looks like it wasn't going very well because they were pushing to our tower pretty badly.
I don't like it. I think my team are just rage quitting because they don't like my build or something stupid like that.
There's a lot of people that think like I'm trolling if I go Grasp on Lulu. So I actually decided to, I'm going to show you something real quick. We actually built another rune page for Lulu. I think it actually is a good idea to build another rune page for Lulu, but if only for the reason that Zeri exists. But we could also do it to potentially pick every once in a while, even if we don't need the rune page, to potentially prevent people from rage quitting, I guess. So here's the thought process here. So there's a couple of things to consider when it comes to alternative runes for Lulu. So the first thing to consider is Grasp is of, I would say, average value on Lulu, but it's so effective. Like, I think the heal is the thing that she likes the most from it, and I feel like it's just enough healing that it really gives her enough sustain to be really impactful in lots of skirmishes and team fights. So that's the main reason why I take this rune. Second Wind also gives her a lot of healing too, though. Then there's stuff like Overgrowth, and there's Shield Bash. Now, Shield Bash and Demolish, Lulu's probably not going to get very great value from Demolish in particular, but it's still kind of nice to take sometimes. You can get that early tower plating, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, part of the reason why Lulu might not get a huge amount of value from Shield Bash is because she might just throw her Pixie on enemies a lot for damage. So even if you throw it on the enemies like half the time, you're only getting like half the value you should get from Shield Bash. Then you also have to consider sometimes you're casting your shield on your ally, right? Especially if you're playing with like a Zeri or something, you can be shielding her so you can give her movement speed. So then you're not going to be benefiting from Shield Bash. If anything, she should be taking Shield Bash in that situation, right? So this is sort of like, I'm the Lulu, I'm frontlining, therefore I'd rather have more maximum HP so we get overgrowth, right? And if we're frontlining, we also don't want to have to buy like Warmogs, so we're going to get Second Wind to replace that. Anyways, so... But we have another Lulu rune page, where we have Summon Airy, and then we just go for Conditioning and Overgrowth. So we're going to be a little bit on the squishy side, so hopefully the Conditioning will help keep us alive. We're going to run around with Water Walking and go a little bit of extra speed, and we'll have Summon Airy. And with the Summon Airy, we're going to be able to... and we won't have access to Gathering Storm. So... But to empower this year's, we're going to have Airy. The Airy's interesting choice on her because that means we can cast W on our ally to increase their attack speed and to give them a shield at the same time. And on, what's her name? It'll give her double value on movement speed, right? Because it'll give her W movement speed from Lulu and passive movement speed on Zeri. So this is sort of like the with the Zeri rune page. And you could also pick it if you're nervous about people rage quitting if you take Grasp. I think if you're... I don't know what kinds of people rage quit if you take Grasp or not, but you guys can try to figure that out on your own. Anyway, so yeah, I have recently, probably since the day before yesterday, or maybe it was yesterday, I edited these builds again, these rune pages. So some of these, like Zerath, for example, I could use as Brand. I actually used to play Tank Brand, but lately I have not been playing Tank Brand at all, even though I used to have a lot of success with it. And now my current theory is to use this Braum rune page for Tank Brand. And I think because Abyssal Mask is in the current form that it is, I think it could be really good on Brand. And so I think the Abyssal Mask Brand with Aftershock could be pretty good. I might end up swapping this out for Grasp, depending on how it goes, though. If I feel like Aftershock's not giving me enough value, which I doubt will be the case, but if I do feel like that, then I can swap it out, I suppose, for Brand. But for now, I really like this concept of getting Abyssal Mask, taking Magic Resist, getting more Magic Resist every 20 seconds with Aftershock seems pretty good. I've also decided to scrap a lot of the rune pages that we don't need, and these two Ornn rune pages are sort of designed to be jungle / top rune pages. And they could be picked by people that aren't Ornn too, I think. I think they're flexible enough that other champions might want this stuff as well. I also need to experiment and make sure that these are viable, just like solo clearing without a leash and stuff. So we'll see if that's the case or not, because I haven't done Ornn in ages, jungle. I'm not sure if I can still make it work, but we'll see. I'm going to probably test it out first. But at the very least, I can use these as a top laner. And so that's why it's just, it doesn't say what position it is, because it's left open. This was the rune page that I've settled on as being good enough for top lane, I think, as Ornn. This is what I've finally found success with. I've been trying a lot of different stuff, and this seems to be the best options. I'll actually show you guys my item build too, real quick. So I actually have 3 different Ornn builds. This is one of the only champions that I'll tolerate having 3 different builds, because I feel like his playstyle just changes so much, depending on which position he's in. I do need to edit this build a little bit, but this is kind of what it's looking like. I haven't bought Abyssal Mask on him yet, but I did find tons of success with Sunfire Aegis and Warmogs, and Gargoyle Stoneplate was pretty good too. And I'm probably also going to be buying this, because I think it's pretty good on him. Because, like, the shield, that's, like, huge, right? So... I was thinking about trying to put this into a different build or something. but I couldn't figure out what the full build would be or something, and I just moved on to looking at Orange Jungle or something. So I may have to revisit that later, but guess I'll figure it out. So I came up with 2 different full build ideas for Ornn for Jungle. So for the Predator page, we're actually running Ingenious Hunter. So the boots will be activatable. So will Randuin's Omen, Yomu's Ghostblade, and Gore Drinker, and Silvermere Dawn. So we're not normally running Tenacity, so we can use Silvermere Dawn to dispel some crowd control and give us Tenacity for 3 seconds. So that's pretty cool. And then we have Styrax Gauge. But on my other rune pages, I think we are running Tenacity, or at least on one of them we are. Anyway, then we have Grasp of the Undying. So this is a different rune page, where we're running this stuff. So we're actually running Grasp. Eclipse will give us shielding, and then we have this for shielding and that for shielding, and we even have this for shielding. So we got 4 shielding items, and they all work independently of each other. This one is an active. This one's based on using your Q or your E on someone. This one is based on just hitting them with 2 different abilities, which you're always going to be activating pretty much. So, and this one's dependent on you losing a lot of HP, and because you get a lot more HP than average Ornn, average League of Legends champ as an Ornn, you get like, if you upgrade everyone's mythic, including your own, on your team, you're gonna have at level 17s, right? You're gonna have like plus 30% maximum health, which is absolutely amazing for the new Styrax Gauge. So even though it only gives them like 51 attack damage at level 18, or 51.5 or something like that, I think the lifeline part of it is so good. And because we have 4 different shielding items, we can run Shield Bash, and when we trigger Lifeline, our Shield Bash attack is going to hurt a lot. It's going to be epic. So, I'm really thinking that's going to be pretty cool. So that's a Shield Bash build there, with Grasp in the jungle. So that's the thing, like, we're running a build that has Grasp and Shield Bash. This is intended for jungle, with Eclipse and the rest of those items. And Eclipse gives us Omnivamp, and Omnivamp's going to be valuable. So, but we also have Ravenous Hunter for before we finish the Eclipse for a little bit of Omnivamp. So you get 6% from that, and you get an 8%, so we're at 14% Omnivamp, which is pretty good for just buying Eclipse. That's, well, this has to you get a takedown on all 5 champs, otherwise you don't get the 6%. It's got something to keep in mind. So that's why we're buying Eclipse. We can make sure we at least get 8%. Now we could be running Ravenous Hunter on the other rune pages. There's a good argument for that. But I really like Presence of Mind a lot on Ornn for top, because it just makes sure I don't run out of mana, so I can keep spamming my Q and my E if I need to, for like escaping or harassing and stuff. So I'm really excited about these new rune pages, basically. And I made a middle lane rune page too, which I think could work for Brand as well. But we could also do middle Brand tank, I would imagine, might work as well. Or a lot of other tanks might work middle with this rune page, I would imagine. Although we might have to swap out Shield Bash for something else, but that's something that's pretty easy to do. I might keep it for Brand, because I might end up getting... Actually, I don't know what my Brand item build looks like. I better take a look at it. So, Aftershock... No, there's no shield here, so we do have to swap out Shield Bash if we're playing that. I don't know, it's just a thought process. Actually, what does this say? It says helper middle, but I would definitely need to mod that rune page now that I think about it. So maybe this should just say help. so I don't like screw myself over accidentally taking middle with forgetting to change the Nautilus build. Oh, wait a minute. No, it doesn't matter if it's help or middle or not, because I literally still need to change the Nautilus's page. Right. Which is fine. It's not that big of a deal. I don't mind doing that. I just wish we could have like 40 rune pages, but we can't. I can edit it. So the main idea is, if the champion name is there and the position name is there, I know I do not need to edit the build 100%. So if I'm playing Braum help, I don't need to edit it. That's the theory. Although I could swap out this for Grasp if I want to, because Braum would get good value from Grasp. Actually, I don't even know if I want Aftershock now that I think about it on him. I think it's not bad because you could jump on someone and give them bonus resistance. But the way I've been playing him with like Tristana, for example, that's not how the flow works. It's kind of like the opposite. So maybe we will swap this out for Grasp. I don't know, I'm a little confused. Yeah, we'll keep Aftershock. It's like a burst of damage. I think it's pretty good. We're gonna keep it. I'm sure it's fine. You also activate it with your ultimate for what it's worth, which is we have Ultimate Hunter, which is nice. Anyways, we're done looking at this for now. I just wanted to show you guys that I'd made some changes to it, blah, blah, blah. I probably spent too much time thinking about it, getting off topic. But yeah, although I've swapped in Lethal Tempo for Samira, I haven't really tried this rune page yet. We also have these, because I noticed I've been struggling with people with a lot of burst damage. Kinda. Because they take me down while I'm trying to use my ulti or something. Also, the attack speed build that I started tinkering with for Samira should help me activate my ultimate more reliably. In theory, actually, I think she gets more value from attack speed than a champion usually would, so I might end up buying Kraken Slayer on her moving forward sometimes. So in this particular game, I was Xerath, and I was missing some shots on Yone. So I was trying to analyze why Yone was being unpredictable to me. And so I basically had to read what Yone's ability does, and then it made sense to me. So when he uses his ultimate here, I expect him to go to the end of his thing, the area of effect that's shown on the ground. But the reason he doesn't is because there are no units over there. He goes past the last, like, champion or something like that. Or the last unit or whatever. And that was my ally. So he stops there rather than at the end of his thing. So he'll attack everything in that square or rectangle, but he won't go to the end unless there's something over there, is basically what that means. So that's one of the things that I learned that I should have known already, but didn't. Anyway, so hopefully knowing that will make me better moving forward. I don't know if there's any other, like, actually really good highlight-worthy moments throughout this entire replay reviews. Everything else was probably really boring compared to that. So it was pretty good timing of when I came back to check that out. Either way, you can go watch it and confirm for yourselves whether or not there's anything else interesting there. So the next highlight is about an hour of me playing Ornn. This was the game that I was talking about where I finally found a build that is kind of working for me on Ornn. It includes Doran Shield, Exhaust, and Barrier. And I start with this item because it doesn't deal damage in an area around me. So that way the tower doesn't like hate me if the enemy is nearby. So I can get close and attack the minion, and if I had like Fire Cloak already, then if he came close to me, he would take damage, and the tower would start attacking me. It's kind of the same thing if you buy like a Thorn Mail too early. So when you get this mythic, like you either want to go Warmogs first, or you want to buy this component before that actual Fire Cloak part. Because if you buy the Fire Cloak part too early, then you're going to get screwed. So I'm only level 9 right now, but I could probably mostly afford the mythic. I'm not sure if I go for it or if I go for Warmogs first or not. It looks like I go for the Fire Cloak now. I guess if after you land your first Demolish attack, then it might be fine to get the mythic, but I'm not sure if it's optimal. But you definitely don't want to buy it before your first Demolish attack. That's for sure. Because it's just going to make things too risky for you. Yeah, sort of my plan moving forward will be to get Warmogs first, and then to get the mythic immediately afterwards. But buying the armor and magic resist, I think depending on the matchup, that one item that you see in the U slot, I think that would be fine before you finish your Warmogs. That would be okay if you want to do that. I'm not sure if I will do that or not, but anyway, yeah, I'm only level 10, so I'm still 3 more levels. In those 3 levels, I could theoretically farm up the money for Warmogs. I'm not sure if that happens or not, but let's see. Looks like I probably won't have enough money by the time I get to level 13. So it may delay your mythic a lot by buying the Warmogs, so you might not want to finish it. Because at the very least, buy like a couple of components maybe, instead of all 4, I guess, if you want to call it that. Because it takes the giant spell, the Kindle Gem, and that thing, and then the recipe. So I had it halfway through level 13. So that's decent. Maybe if I was more efficient, maybe I could get it before I hit 13. Maybe both items, who knows. It might be difficult to do, but it might be possible. Anyway, I actually was dying quite a bit, so whatever.
Well, the fact of the matter is, them getting 2 Infernal Dragons in a row, when we are already too squishy, basically means it's impossible for us to win.
Well, that's what I thought anyway, but we somehow managed to win this, but it was really hard. I feel like miracles happened or something. It also took us a long time to win, too. Look at this. It's 50 minutes in, and the game's still not over. I'm 10, 10, 20 right now. Yeah, look at some of those stats on my runes. It's kind of gross, right? I have like 4,000 plus demolish damage, almost 5,000 mana restored from presence of mind, over 3k grasp damage. I think, pretty sure that's damage. Yeah. I've gained over 360 health from overgrowth. Pretty crazy stuff happening. Anyway. Yeah, at this point I'm almost 6k HP on Ornn. And I don't even think my build is finished yet. No, wait, no, it is. Never mind, my build is finished. Anyway. Pretty interesting game. Or can get pretty tanky. He's sort of like the tanky anti-tank because of his W doing damage based on max HP percentage. So I was watching some YouTube, and I decided to turn this into a highlight. So I did some commentary on AP Gnar in mid lane. So if you listen long enough, I will respond to some of the things he says. If I were to re-upload this on YouTube, I would probably have to do some editing so that...
Everfrost on Gnar? I've definitely never tried that, or even thought about it.
We could skip out some of the more boring things that I don't respond to that he says.
Like, think about it. You don't...
I went on to talk about how when you're in small form, you don't have much for crowd control compared to large form. But now with Everfrost, you can cast that while you're small, and you can get some crowd control going. So it seems really, really good. Anyways, where were we? He did mention that one of the problems with going AP Gnar is you don't get AP while you're in big form. So, something to think about for sure. Anyways, mostly my team was just running it down for lack of a better way of explaining what they were doing. It just... So I was doing Lux versus Veigar, I guess. What do they have as Zeri? We probably win. Because like all the Zeri players are pretty trashy in bronze. They don't know what they're doing. Some of these Zeri players don't even know how to play bottom lane. They literally just want to play the new champ. And they're just playing bottom lane because they think that's where she should go. Regardless whether or not that's true. And like the funny thing is like they're playing bottom in ranked even though they never play bottom. It's like, why? It's just so stupid. Anyway, a lot of the time on Lux I go Moonstone. Sometimes I go other stuff. But I really like the Glacial Augment Lux build. And with that it makes sense to take Moonstone. Although, if you want a more immediately powerful shield, after you Glacial Augment, you're going to want to Rush Redemption rather than Moonstone. But I do like how Moonstone gives you some AP, so that's nice too. Anyway, I guess what I mean to say is the bonus shielding power from the Moonstone, it requires you being in combat for you to build up the shielding power.
Oh, this was really good too, actually. Now that I think about it, yeah, they were all pretty good.
Anyway, we don't need to stick around for the post-game chat. If you want to, then you can go do that. How many more? So these are all going to be individual games. There's no more replay reviews from here on out because I was playing live instead of off stream. So in this game, I had to build a...
Oh, I didn't save my runes. I also didn't get the adaptive force.
I was grabbing a grasp of the Undying rune page for Senna. I think I was trying to alter a Lulu rune page or something, which is why I ended up getting stuck with Demolish on Lulu at some point or another. Because I feel like Shield Bash is significantly less valuable on Senna, so I usually go Demolish. Shield Bash is viable on Senna, I just don't really like it that much. Like, if you need to use your ultimate, it will give you a little bit more defenses, so that could be pretty nice. If you are up against, like, assassins or something like that, and you wanted to choose between Shield Bash and Demolish, you probably are going to want Shield Bash. but it's up to you. If you want to like invest your tower gold into HP items, then demolish might be the better choice. So anyway, I went with Moonstone, and then we go the Glaive, and then in this particular game we get Infinity Edge too. These three items are like so incredibly different from each other, and it's kind of interesting because no other champ can like buy Infinity Edge third and get the bonus damage from it, unless they bought, you know, 2 critical strike items before that. Except for like Yone and Yasuo, but in their case, they still need to buy 1 other critical strike item at least to have enough. They don't need to buy 2 before Infinity Edge. They just need to buy 1. But Senna doesn't even need to buy 1, which is pretty cool. So it's a very unusual build, but I feel like it gives her a great balance. So the Moonstone encourages your team to group up. So that way they all get periodically healed, even when I'm not casting Q on them. The anti-warding item makes grouping up better because we have better vision than the enemy, theoretically. Me one-shotting wards. And then the Infinity Edge just helps me provide a decent amount of damage output for the team. It's a really fun 3-item like power spike, I want to call it, that I think is great for her right now. So I would say Moonstone first is great for securing dragons. It makes your dragon fights less punishing for your team, I guess, if we want to call it that. Less disastrous or whatever. And then this will help out your team as whether people on your team or the enemy gets fed, it's going to be easier for you to win the vision wars and get those fed people less fed or more fed depending on which team they're on. And then the Infinity Edge will kind of help you close out the game. So I think it's a really cool grasp combo that I'm loving a lot. I used to go lots of grasp, and now I think this is, now that I've been playing Senna in a wide variety of ways, I think this is my favorite 3-item power spike for her. Moving forward with that particular keystone, at least. I can show you guys my other builds too that I have real quick if you want. But some of these might just be partially theory crafted or something. So I only have the 1 Senna build, unlike with Ornn, because I'm only ever going to play her in support. But we have electrocute items. So these are just suggestions. I can just pick and choose from these other builds too. But actually, I recently updated this, so it was pretty different before. Anyway, we did only have 1 of these here. It used to be just this, and then I swapped it out for that, and then now we have both there. But anyway, I don't... So for Electrocute, we're running Eclipse. So the idea is you get your Eclipse damage, which is a burst of damage. It's also related to your passive burst of damage, so it happens at the same time. But then you can hit them 1 more time for Electrocute damage if you want. And then since we're already like worrying about lots of mist, generally with this build we're going to want Spectral Sickle instead of Steel Shoulder Guards, because Steel Shoulder Guards means you're killing more minions, so you can share that gold with your ally. But with this, you're just harassing all the time, so you're killing less minions, at least until you finish your mission anyway, and it becomes plus 75 HP. So with this build, you're relying on your AD to keep you safe. And it's actually better now because they buffed Maw. So now she can get Maw, and it gives her really big shield against magic damage. Like much bigger than she even needs, which is cool. So it'll be helpful in a lot of fights where she might actually need the really, really big shield. We also get value from Essence Reverses, sort of like a substitute for Kraken Slayer, since we're getting this for the shielding. And I think this would be good too, since we're investing so much into our attack damage with Essence Reaver. I think it makes sense to bring this along too for the ride, especially for the electrocute damage. I think this would be really good, bigger electrocute damage, especially since we don't have Kraken Slayer. And then we grab this maybe as a final item, because why not have more Omnivamp and more attack damage? That's if we sell our income item, though. So we might not buy this in most games. But yeah. And that's the same thing for the 6th item in every category here. So we might get a Titanic Hydra for Grasp, but that would include selling our income item. And as you can see, we never got to Black Cleaver or whatever. But I've theory crafted this Black Cleaver. I actually haven't bought it yet. I haven't bought Black Cleaver for Senna in quite some time. But I think with the new Black Cleaver giving her more attack damage than before, it might be worth getting. Plus, besides which, I'm just throwing it into this build, which wants HP, and you're talking plus 350 HP and attack damage. How can you turn that away when you're going Grasp Senna? I wonder. So it's just theory crafted, and as such, this is kind of more of the same concept. We're just kind of grabbing more HP and attack damage and wondering how the cleave works, blah, blah, blah. This build, believe it or not, is not much theory crafted. Like, as far as, like, I bought, like, the Chemtech Putrefier and the Immortal Shield Bow and a Null Magic Mantle and one, just off of, 2 items, basically. And I think this is the new Glacial Augment build for me moving forward, to be honest. And then Kraken Slayer is still in there. So at any time, if I'm going one of these keystones, or maybe even a different keystone, like Summon Airy, perhaps, we could still run Kraken Slayer. In fact, maybe I'll build like a Kraken Slayer Airy build or something. But look how radically all these different these items are. There's so many items in this game. It's actually pretty cool, isn't it? But yeah, so I'm not sure, like, I guess if I was going Summon Airy, I might want Kraken Slayer and Bloodthirster, and then I don't know what else I would get. It's a little bit fuzzy in my head how that would look. But, anyways, so we are getting Berserker Greaves here. I'm not sure if it's the best choice or not, but the thought process is I am enjoying Electrocute on Senna, but sometimes I feel like it takes too long to hit them with my 3rd attack if I haven't, like, W'd anybody, right? So I think Berserker's Greaves will get me there faster, and it might make this build better as a result. So, yeah. That's basically it. Plus, like, it undeniably will increase her damage output by a decent chunk. Like, there's no getting around that. It will. So I think this can be swapped out if you're going the Electrocute build, but I'm going to experiment with buying that on Electrocute from now on and see if it's significantly better or not. It might be. I'm already winning games with her on Electrocute, so there's no need to optimize it, but I might as well try to anyways. Just see if we can become that much more dominant with it. Anyway. But if Berserker's Greaves doesn't turn out so good, it's very likely we're going to swap it out for Boots of Swiftness. Boots of Swiftness are amazing because they're 200 gold cheaper, and they just really allow you to stick to people. So, and it's a lot easier for you to run away if you need to. Anyway, we do have some other boots in here. Mobility boots are pretty good against various opponents sometimes, but generally speaking, you don't want them, blah, blah, blah. These are all boots that I may or may not get at some point or another. There's no reason to get magic penetration boots on her because she has no magic damage in her kit. She would have to get it from keystones or items, so it's not worth investing into, I think. Unless you were, like, addicted to, like rapid fire cannon, with the 120 bonus magic damage, and then like Storm Razor, 120 bonus magic damage and such, then maybe you could justify whatever it was I was talking about. But I don't really buy that stuff on her, so anyway. She does benefit from critical strikes, so you can go those items on her if you want, but I just never do. Anyways, what were we talking about? We were... I don't know, I'm lost! I think we looked at a Moonstone Senna build, so now let's look at Moonstone Lux. I was just talking about runes and items and stuff. I was really excited to share some information, so we did that. Anyway, we had a Lux and Smear game, and we had a Kiana that was kicking lots of butt. 31 minutes, nobody's won yet. Oh, we were up against an annoying Tryndamere that was like taking all of our inhibitors. We actually had all 3 of our inhibitors down when we won the game, which was pretty interesting.
Holy shit, dude. Somebody fucking kill that guy.
As you can see, my language gets pretty crazy when I play League of Legends. And the main reason why that is because I do watch streamers that swear in League of Legends and get frustrated and they swear, and so then it rubs off on me. So I get frustrated and swear when I play this game. Anyway, okay, so let's just run through these highlights here. We've got another Senna game. This time I'm with Jen. I'm not the kind of person that will, guarantee to run away just because a jungle is here to gank us. I'm willing to fight even if we have somewhat of a disadvantage. Although that fight could have gone a little bit better. That was, I guess you could call that a little bit of a limit testing battle. I was more of testing Jin's limits than anything else, I guess. But I'd still call it limit testing. So looks like I was going for lethality for this game. I was probably going for anti-wards, so we can win a vision war of sorts. Oh no, I guess I was going Eclipse, because I wanted shielding. Okay, it makes sense. I mean, I am running the Electrocute, so I kind of like Eclipse with Electrocute. I know a lot of people like Divine Sunderer on Senna. I just kind of don't. I've bought it sometimes on her, I think, or at least I've tried to. And like, I don't know, maybe like the components are just not good. I don't like buying a Sheen on her. The only item I can tolerate buying a Sheen for her is Essence Reaver. So the problem is when you buy the Sheen by itself for 700 gold, it's supposed to be like a little power spike in itself for most champions, but for Senna it's kind of not. For 700 gold, I don't feel like it's very impactful personally. You guys can feel free to disagree if you want, but it doesn't feel like it provides enough of an oomph for her to really invest in. So until you actually even finish the item, it's not that great. And then even when you finish it, part of the mythic passive is like getting magic penetration, which Senna kind of doesn't really care about, especially if she's running Electrocute anyway. She's not going to be doing magic damage unless she's running AP. So anyway, Eclipse does a lot of what Sunderer does. So Sunderer like heals herself, but her kit heals herself anyways. So Eclipse provides a shield that she normally wouldn't have access to. So it's kind of like bonus HP, whereas Sunderer's the only bonus HP is just in the item stats itself. if I wanted bonus HP in the item stats, I could just buy a Bloodthirster for crying out loud. Which, you know, I think is pretty good on her. Particularly if you're going Kraken Slayer anyway. Like, anyway. So we sort of had like a Jarvan 4 that was dying a lot this game. And I was dying a lot too. I'm 073. So this could be like a comeback game. Might be why I highlighted it. I was actually, look at this build. I was selecting the steel shoulder guards, and the steel shoulder guards weren't in my flexible Senna build, but they were in my anti-assassin build. So I was still, working off of like multiple item build. And now I just have the one, and I think it's better now. But anyway, I probably could have swapped back over so I could have access to more items or something. So I didn't really finish like the different ideas for anti-assassin. I think it's unnecessary. Like, because I've decided to be anti-assassin, I can just change my rune page. So I don't really need to buy items specifically to be anti-assassin is what I've decided. So I think the thought process behind building an item page specifically to counter assassins just isn't a good idea. Because it requires gold, right? You need gold to beat the assassins. Like, if you're basing it off of your items. And that means you have to get ahead at some point. And if the assassins are already ahead of you, then you're not going to be able to benefit from the anti-assassin items because you literally cannot buy them. So I think it's better to invest in runes for anti-assassin power. So that's why we took down the item build and we're only using one item build per Senna now. Well, I mean, we have one item build listing, but that listing has multiple builds on it. So it's fine. Yeah, we do have 3 different Ornn builds, but the reason why we do have 3 different Ornn builds is because I'm going to be potentially playing him in 3 different positions. Support, jungle, and top. Or we might even play him middle, who knows. But yeah, definitely won't be playing him as if he's the carry. Although we could do that, actually, if we really wanted to. It's probably not a great idea, though. Well, we'll have to see. I'll have to like get experience or like running the Predator build and see how that works, and then maybe we could make it work with Dark Harvest. Like ask our ally to get Electrocute or something like that, and combo with their Electrocute to get some value or something. Or maybe a Halo Blades or Lethal Tempo ally will be good enough to combo the Dark Harvest with. So at this point I have a lot of gold, 4K. I can buy kind of whatever I want. So I decided to buy 2 cheap items. That way it improves the power of Eclipse more quickly. I don't know if this was the best thing to do or not, but I was trying to give us a little bit of a power spike because Dragon's going to be spawning soon. So, well, in like 3 minutes, but it's going to be theoretically the Dragon Soul that I want really bad, so. Normally I wouldn't get Night's Owl on her, but we pick it up for this game. I might actually throw it into one of my lists for her. I'm not sure where it would go. I guess just straight into extra items, maybe. Along with that glove that I also almost never get. The lethality plus critical strike. The thing is, it's a good item on her. Like, she wants lethality, she wants critical strike. Both of those are good stuff on her, in theory. The problem is just like its execution effect is not really that great on her. It's not bad, but also, like, I mean, she could get like HP, you know, or lifesteal or something like that from it, or healing boosts, or she doesn't get any of that for buying it. So just, I don't know. Like, it's not a terrible item on her. It's just something I usually haven't found success with buying. But it's probably because I have tried to rush it, you know, so you can get like the bonus gold from it. Like, it gets more value if you rush it, is the thought process. But a lot of the time what happens is you're just too squishy and so you're not going to benefit from buying it. I might actually start getting it on Ornn though. Like, I don't think Ornn is great with lethality. He's not bad with it because his E can do a lot of damage, especially if you're building tank. But anyway. Senna actually has restoration scaling with lethality, so it's at least a little bit better on her than it is on Ornn. Somebody like Kayn, because he's sort of like an AD mage, I guess you could look at him that way. The only reason he benefits from lethality is because his abilities do lots of damage, but he doesn't actually literally scale with lethality, but it is good for him. And I think Ornn is sort of in a similar position to Kayn. Like, sure, his W is tons of damage, and that is magic damage. But his E damage is nothing to scoff at if he's going full tank. And he's like level 17 and upgraded everyone's mythics. Anyways, so that was the versus Duskblade Pike game. Right. So let's check out the Summon Airy Lux. So I got a little cornered by my bottom lane partner. So she picked after me. She wouldn't show what her pick was, so I wasn't sure what to go with. So at first I was going Glacial Augment. Now, I questioned the validity of Glacial Augment Lux with Ashe in a previous game, and I played that despite the fact that I had an Ashe lane partner, and I lived to regret it. I'm not sure if it was because I thought it was bad, or if it was just because I thought it wasn't seen as valuable as my teammate. But either way, the game just didn't go very well. So I decided instead of Glacial Augment, we should just go with Summon Airy. So I just grabbed my Yuumi rune page. Now afterwards, I've had this Yuumi rune page for so long, I think it's probably very effective in this situation, so I don't think there's any need to change it. But I realized I never play Yuumi anymore. So what I did was I just changed it to a Lulu rune page, basically. And now if for some reason I want to play Lux or Summon Airy, then I can pick the Yuumi runes if I want, and just change these to Yuumi runes. It's not really a big deal. It's pretty easy. You go Revitalize and Shield Bash, and then you go Absolute Focus and Gathering Storm, and then you're done. That's it. Well, I guess you could change these too, if you want. That's pretty optional. As a Lux or whatever. As a Yuumi, you would definitely want the ability power or the ability haste, one of the two. Anyway. What was I saying? So, this game went pretty good, I would say, honestly. And if you were up against, like, assassins, then you might want to not use the entire Yuumi rune page, and so some of that stuff might still be Lulu runes, which is fine, I think. So leaving it as a Lulu rune page, I think, is for the best. and then Lux can use it if she needs to, and she can modify it if she needs to, blah blah blah, or she can just leave it alone if it's fine for the matchup. So this will give me some more flexibility for sure. And who knows, maybe there could be an argument for Yumi using some tankier runes and some less optimization for dumb allies that are just gonna waste your abilities anyways. Tried to finish off that Twitch, but just barely survived. I think he got cured by Kale as I was attacking him, which we couldn't see on screen. So a lot of the time when I play Lux, I kind of change up my elemental transformation depending on what's going on in the game. Lately, because I've been taking Glacial Augment, I will go for the Frosty look, because why not? I mean, it's like thematic with Glacial Augment, right? In this case, I am going Summon Airy. Sometimes what I'll do, even if I'm running Glacial Augment, is I might take Fire based on my mood. If my lane partner is kind of pissing me off, or the opponents are kind of pissing me off, I may take Fire just to express that I'm angry. But in this case, I think I was just taking it because I wanted to express I wasn't angry this game. The reason why I took Fire was because I wanted to contrast with Ashe, because one of my champions that I've enjoyed playing with Ashe was Brand. Brand is Fire, which is a contrast to Ashe's Frost Arrows, and so Fire Lux is like a contrast to Ashe's Frost Arrows. So that's why I picked it. So, and that's why I didn't take an additional transformation either. Or at least I delayed to take one if I decided to take one later. Then, like, sometimes I might go to nature in addition to fire because I might think I like to pick nature if my mood is, well, this game is going long, but I'm not gonna give up. Like, nature is like the feeling of like my mood is I'm not gonna give up. It's like what I'm trying to express towards my teammates. So I changed my look depending on what like subliminal message I'm trying to give to my teammates, basically. We actually went with Warmogs, which I think if you're doing Summon Airy makes sense. But if you're going the Glacial Augment build, it probably doesn't. I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm just talking random nonsense. But I think Warmogs is way better than it used to be. Let's just put it that way. It's really easy to get value from it, blah, blah, blah. Well, I had a Knight's Vow, so I was able to get value from it because I had bought a Knight's Vow, that's for sure. Because normally, see with this, you only get 275 HP boost off of Moonstone. But if I had Overgrowth, that could contribute to the Warmog's value. Also, this could have been Relic Shield, but it wasn't. So, yeah, that's another thing too, is I need to look at my Lux rune page and see if it needs some tweaking or something. Because I get Relic Shield almost every game on her. Yeah, but I think there's an argument for Spell Thief sometimes. So we should slip that in there somewhere. So I actually theory crafted playing Lux middle or bottom, but I don't know if I actually ever want to now, because I just feel like she's just so helpful as a support. What was I doing? Oh, here we go. We want this. So I might tear these out. I might do some modifications here and there. So basically what I've been doing, I think when I play Lux, is kind of what I was doing for Senna earlier. And I think it's been working out fine, but I feel like there's room for tweaking this to make things make more sense for me moving forward. Like, we're just like sort of like buying items that help you chase, buying items that help you survive, like buying items that help you deal damage, buy items that help you help your allies. Like, usually what I end up doing every game is I get like Moonstone, and then maybe some of these items, or some of those, and then like and the swiftness boots, because these are just like really good boots on her, I feel like, because you get into position to land your Qs and your Ws with the swiftness boots better, blah blah blah. But yeah, I don't know, we're gonna let this float for a while as it is, but I just wanted to add that one item in there so I don't have to leave off of the build to go find it. But apparently Knight's Vow is in the build right now, so I don't have to worry about adding it. So that's good. Anyway, let's get back to the highlight. Oops. Should probably close that. So I did eventually bring in Earth 2, so we're Magma Lux, because it's like 38 minutes in and we still haven't won yet. 4-8-24. I want to deliver the subliminal message that I'm not ready to throw in the towel. We can sell our income item if we have to and buy something else, although I don't know what it would be at this point. But in the end, we won the game. Somebody called it easy. They were obviously trolling. Anyway, so that was this game. You could tell, I mean this highlight, you could tell because it has this background here. That's what I clicked on last, so that's good. Okay, that's the last link that I clicked on, right? So for this particular game, looks like I played Lux, Lulu. Oh my goodness, why did I call her Lux? The little fairy yordle thingy with the water skin. I generally use the water skin. It's the only skin I have for her. I like at least 2 other skins that she has, but I don't own them, so I just use this one all the time. I think this is my favorite water Lulu skin. I think the other water Lulu skins or chromas look great too, for the most part, but I just like the default. I like that it's nice and blue and everything. It's great. Anyway, I've been buying some chromas though, with like riot points and stuff, so because of Amazon Prime been giving us riot points for our stuff, which is pretty cool. If you guys don't have Amazon Prime yet, consider getting it so you can get some skins and stuff. Anyway, we were up against the Zyra. A lot of Zyras are not very good. They just know how to build damage items and just like let their plants to kind of do all the work for the most part. And I guess it works well enough for them against the average support, but I'm not exactly the average support. I think I'd die here because Zed managed to get me with his Duskblade and I can't quite run away because it slows me so much. He's able to get multiple attacks off on me. We do have a Mordekaiser this game. I'm not sure how well he's doing. We've had a lot of pretty trashy Mortys in Bronze, but I guess it's to be expected. But I don't like to ban them because even a trashy Mordekaiser is better than not having a Mordekaiser generally. So I was like way too slow to redemption there, so all I did was hurt the enemies a bit. Which in Warwick's case actually was pretty painful apparently. But it wasn't really a big deal for him overall. At this point I'm going for Demonic Embrace. I do that sometimes on her because it's a great way to give value to Grasp, as well as give her some extra AP for other things like her ultimate and her shield. I think her W scales with AP as well, for what it's worth, just with the movement speed, which I think is pretty good. I may have overstayed there trying to help out my ally, which is unfortunate. But overall, I feel like I'm doing pretty good. I'm 5.518, which is really good KDA, I think, generally. As a support, you would like to die as few times as possible. So, while it might be slightly above average for the particular game that I'm in, that's probably not really above average as a Lulu, though, I would imagine. But I don't really know. I don't really check out a lot of people playing Lulu. I just mostly play her myself. The few times that I do see other people playing champions like Lulu, I'm generally not impressed, not gonna lie. But I don't go looking for Lulu streams either. So... The only person I can think of that regularly plays Lulu, just tries to be very meta, and as such, isn't very interesting to me, I guess, because I've already seen like the lower skilled meta players in low ranks, and so it's easy for me to pick out the similarities between that person and the lower skilled Lulus. So I think that's why it doesn't really impress me. If the person was more willing to come up with their own like item and rune builds like I am, then I guess I might be more impressed. But anyway, I'm not sure what those guys were arguing about, but you guys can check out the post-game chat and my analysis if you want. I'll probably click on like... I definitely was chatting a bit here. Oh, our Graves was kind of rude. Yeah, he was at our top lane apparently, and he died a lot. Anyway, yeah, dying 13 times in a win. If you've died 13 times in a win and you're not like complimenting your teammates, there's something wrong with you. Although to be fair, the main thing that Graves was trying to tell me that I personally thought was rude was not particularly rude. It was just him saying that he thought that I was just at the same skill level as the enemy Tristana, which I found incredibly insulting, but he may have had a much higher opinion of the enemy Tristana than I did. So I wasn't like upset with him, but I definitely was insulted. Anyway, I discovered making the shop smaller during the game just before this one, probably. So I was Eclipse, Senever's Locketrash. Dude, I'm actually so excited about this. You can shrink the shop. It's a little bit annoying to deal with a smaller shop, but you'll get used to it. And it'll just let you see so much more of the screen. So that way you can actually open up the shop while you're recalling and not just like basically be feeding because people sneaking up on you anymore. It shouldn't happen so easily. The shop's so much smaller. So I finally discovered how to do that, so that's pretty cool. Anyway, this was another Electrocute Senna game. I don't know how well it went, though. Almost got him. Anyway, moving forward, so we have me almost getting Jin again. Slippery fellow. Moving forward again. Let's see what else is going on. There's an enemy Akali, and they're ahead of us a bit. Yeah, they have 4 kills on us. 302 Akali, so it's not looking particularly great for us. The only anti-assassin rune I have is the Nullifying Orb, which is pretty good against Akali, so it might be enough. But I wonder if this is a game where I buy Maw of Malmortius, because it seems like this would be a good game for that. Anyway, I do get an Eclipse. I mean, yeah, I think this is for Eclipse, as well as Essence Reaver. And then maybe after that I buy Maw. Yeah, I get a Hex Drinker, so it looks like that is my intention. So my score wasn't so bad. I think I was like 1-2-2, which is not great, but then it kind of got worse. It became 5-8-6. But we're hanging in there. It's 25 minutes in. Looks like we still have inhibitors, perhaps. Not sure if we've lost any yet. But we take down Set. So for those of you that might be watching from playing Dota 2, the inhibitors in League actually respawn after a while, whereas in Dota 2 they don't. So that's a pretty big difference. Of course, in League, I think it's helpful that they don't respawn, because I actually think that the super minions that spawn when the inhibitor is gone are like a lot stronger in League than they are in Dota. So I think it's good that the inhibitors respawn to maintain a bit of balance. There's like a certain duration where you have to like defend more, whereas in Dota it's like for the rest of the game you have to defend more, but it's less of a worry, but it's still something that you have to constantly worry about. And honestly, I prefer the flow of it in League a little bit more. I kind of wish that was one of the things that League does differently that Dota would copy, but they haven't done yet. Dota has copied Heroes of the Storm in some regards, and I really liked the choices that they picked for copying Heroes of the Storm. I think it's pretty cool. But overall, I have a lot of issues. There's just like a lot of design choices in Dota, as well as like I have issues with the community too. And I think the community issues is more of the problem that I have than anything else. For trying to play the game. Anyway, like the stuff that happens in League that I don't like happens often enough to be incredibly frustrating, but in Dota 2, it happens so much it's soul crushing. I'm not like in League it's not. In League it's just frustrating. But in Dota it's literally soul crushing. It's so horrible. I just can't. So yeah. That's why I don't play Dota 2 pretty much. I was actually going for a Banshee's Veil this game, but we didn't need it. Anyway, next. Alright, I'm actually getting pretty good at this. It helps when you've been doing it for like 2 hours. Well, I'll be better in the future. Future episodes. Hopefully we can do this more often and not have like 3-hour long episodes every single time. But actually, maybe it's fine, dude. I don't know. I don't know if I want to be doing this every single week, but maybe we'll do it like 2 times a month or something. He told me to go Exhaust. I actually did have Flash, and I decided to swap out Flash for Ignite. But yeah, this is my typical summer spells on Lux. I didn't really talk to the person, I just swapped my summer spell. Anyway, so this was me going Glacial Augment with Ezreal. I figure it's pretty good with him. One thing I've been doing, I'm not sure if I started doing it in this game or not, or if I was doing it earlier, was every time I go Glacial Augment, I explain to my allies how it works. because I think it's unlikely that they'll know. So I tell them when the game starts, generally. Sometimes I might tell them in lobby, but if you don't tell them particularly early, then it might not be helpful. But still, telling them in the lobby before the game starts can be helpful about telling them about your runes, because you can help them make decisions on what kinds of runes they might want or what champion they might want to pick. One thing I guess I could start doing moving forward is I could just start just clicking progressively further into the highlight and just not say anything and just let the replay speak for itself. Their set was their top laner, and he was dying a ton. So we were chatting about that a little bit.
I just didn't see him much because he was just hanging around in the back line. Anyway. Interesting game.
Next up, we have another Lux game. So after this, we have 4 more League of Legends highlights and then a couple of level-head highlights.
Nunu ban?
I feel like we should have more than a couple of level-head highlights.
Wait, our bottom was gonna go Nunu? What?
Oh yeah, no, we do have more than just the 2. I just have to backtrack.
The Dark 18 has been playing bottom 80% of the time.
Right, because what I'm doing is I'm doing all the League ones right now, because we already did everything else other than Levelhead. So Levelhead's going to be the last one. We're not doing it completely backwards. We're doing it backwards in 4 or 5 rounds. Anyways,
9 out of 10 games action.
this is the second to last round.
Interesting.
This is the League of Legends round. It's the
Let's
longest round, I think.
I wonder if he's going overheal.
Because I've been playing it the most lately.
She's here.
So,
dude, I can't. Oh my goodness. I played too much Senna. Trying to kill the freaking mist monster thingy.
yeah, so her mist is spawning sometimes. And especially when I use my relic shield, it increases the chance that she can get it. Especially if it's a cannon. So I think if somebody wants to run Senna, their lane partner should always get either relic shield or steel shoulder guards. That way you can execute the cannon, so easy kills on cannon, and every single cannon will give her mist. So I think that's something to keep in mind. If you're playing with a Senna, go one of the execution items for income, because it'll really help her scaling with her mist. So don't go Spell Thieves, don't go the Spectral Sickle. If you're Senna lane partner.
Now that we have that plating, I should go.
Because I really think the mist really helps her out. It gives her greater attack range, it gives her greater critical strike chance, and if she ever gets to 100% critical strike chance for whatever reason, then it'll start translating into lifesteal for her. Not at a 1-for-1 value, but it still gives her a decent amount of lifesteal, so it's pretty cool. Anyway, so 9 minutes in, and Senna is already 402, and I'm 114. So our lane's going pretty good. I haven't transformed yet, though. Now I'm Water Lux. Because things are going pretty good.
So triggered.
I do end up start dying, though.
I thought I'd thrown my E, but somehow I
By
didn't.
15 minutes in, I've died 3 times, so... That sucks. It's so weird looking at this because I'm thinking that I'm Senna, and I'm like, what? I don't remember doing that. Yeah, it's because you were Lux. Anyways,
Swiftness, but tower hates like mages. Oh, crap. I was aiming my ulti to hit her in case she went for Senna somehow. Sort of.
so I might have thought that she would have tenacity or something. I'm not sure what my thought process was. Maybe I was just shooting it too quickly and wasn't aiming properly. But anyway. Xayah actually dodged my E with her ultimate there. It looks like we still finished her off. So 18 minutes in, they're like only 8 kills down, but we're doing pretty good with our pushing, so looks like we're going to take the win. No problem. So I actually grab a mobility boots here because I had died 3 times and I was getting sick of it, and I wanted to also, like, I think I needed to help my team more quickly in case we get outnumbered somehow. Something like that. I think my Senna was probably like just not as responsible as she could have been, and just like trying to make sure I'm there to help her when I need to rush to help her. So it's probably why I was getting it. I might have also been getting it because I might have thought it's pretty good against Akali, because it's like there's gonna be moments where you get in and out of combat against her, and she's gonna try to like cut you off or something. Same thing, kind of like Warwick, I guess. I'm just gonna like prevent that from happening, I guess.
Maybe. Because I can't if I have a control ward. Maybe I was gonna undo that.
I figured the Zonia would like give time for her ally to come help me out in case I get caught out for whatever reason. I think if you're gonna get mobility boots, the Zonia makes a lot of sense because you're gonna have moments where you don't have the movement speed on your mobility and you're going to want it. But since you don't have it, that means you cannot get away. Then you might as well activate your Zonia and hope your team comes and helps you.
Alright, let's go next.
Like, give me a Zyra player that doesn't buy Leandries. And, like, I don't think it'll be easy to find one unless you, like, look at me, I guess. Because I don't get it on her. Anyway, we have another game where I'm playing Lulu. This game we're up against the Swain.
That was so hard to watch, that Syndra, like, being so scared. But it's fine. At least it was funny for Caitlyn.
Okay, we probably want to watch that, because that was a pretty memorable moment, I guess. So we're kind of getting swarmed here a bit. And Syndra probably comes in to reinforce us, but she's kind of a bit late. So it's mostly just me and Swain left. And Swain basically has full HP. He does take like 1 tower hit though. He goes into the bush and then she gets scared. She just runs away. Like, oh no, she's running away because I finished him off, right? You just slow that down a little. Oh yeah, it's on 1.5x speed. That's too fast. Let's actually change it to like 0.75 so you guys can actually see what happened. Okay, so she's trying to kill him. I think she used her R on her already. So I have my Pixie on her, and then I use my Q to finish him off. And I think, so because, you know, it was at 1.5 times speed, you couldn't really see that very well, maybe, unless you knew what to look for. But at 1x speed, I think
our Caitlin noticed what was happening and thought it was funny, so that's what I commented on. Because I think she typed in the chat something like that, like LMAO, yeah. But that was an interesting moment. Then we have just a bunch of other stuff that is probably pretty skippable. You guys can go check it out if you want. I think we probably had some good echo stuns this game. And as you can see, as Lulu, we have lots of close calls. Me just barely getting away. Because I build a lot of defenses, and people don't expect that extra defense that I get. Plays steel caps, some extra HP, get cloth armor here or there. I ended up getting a Dead Man's Plate. I like Dead Man's Plate on Lulu. I think it's great. Great item choice. I'm not afraid to build tank items on her, because I can always shield myself and get value from the resistances. Like, that's why Glacial Augment is so good on Bucks, right? Because you give your ally resistance, even if they didn't buy it, and then you give them the shield to go with the HP, to go with the resistances. So it's like the same concept. Like, I'm tanking on Lulu, but then when I play Lux and I go Glacial Augment, I turn other people into the tank, basically, which is really cool. I think Lulu tank is so much more fun than playing other stuff like Blitzcrank or Pike tank, like, as long as your allies are not trolling you, because then you can decide at any given moment who's the tank. Is it yourself? Is it your ally?
It's pretty scary. I kind of don't want to go.
You can just change your mind on a whim.
I haven't done anything with my Jamala.
Whereas if you do nothing but build AP on Lulu, then you're always going to decide that your ally is the tank, if anyone. Right? You have to cast your ultimate on someone, so whoever that you cast that on is definitely a tank. And then, like your shield, you might only cast that on the enemies, depending on how the game goes, who knows. But theoretically you would cast it on people sometimes. But the thing is, if you're building only AP, you don't have resistances, so all that extra HP you might give yourself, or even someone else, might not go that far, right? Anyway, so yeah, this guy, having plated steel caps, makes him a somewhat more valuable ally for Lulu. So another way to look at it is, I guess if my ally is likely to buy plated steel caps, then they might get more value out of my shield than they otherwise would. But yeah, I'm surprised the Zeri players are not running Shield Bash right now. I'm assuming it will become meta sooner or later. I just don't know how long it'll be until it happens, because their passive reacts to them getting a shield. So if their allies picking stuff like Lux and Lulu, then to shield them, to give them movement speed, like, why not give yourself some resistances while you're at it, as well as bonus damage? So, anyway. I'm not sure if she can activate the bonus damage from Shield Bash with just a Q, or if she needs to actually right-click someone. But I think if you have to sacrifice some of your charge power to right-click somebody for Shield Bash, it's probably worth it. So, especially because, like, I think if you're running Lux, if you're playing Zeri, you get hit with the first instance of Lux's shield, then you can right-click someone, and then when the second instance hits you, then you can right-click them again, and you can get 2 instances of Shield Bash really quickly. At least I think that's how that works. I could be wrong. So that's a theoretical possibility. Which doesn't happen much for Lux, mostly because she's always keeping her distance from people. Whereas Zeri likes to be up and close, so that way she could actually Q people. Or like people would be keeping their distance from Lux because they don't want her to like Q her or something. Anyway, this game I didn't do great or bad, really. It was just kind of average. And it was a kind of a quick win. I ended up going kind of even with Gwen, sort of, I guess, even though she basically hard counters me, so I don't think she was a very good player. She did have a lot more income than me, so yeah, she got more minions. Her pushing, she was better, like, she was kind of dominant over me, let's just put it that way. But then she would, like, sort of waste her advantage by, like, trying to help her team, and it didn't work out very well for helping her team, I guess because her team was sucking. So even though I kind of say I went even, I was actually a little bit behind her overall. But it kind of didn't matter. I wasn't behind enough because she didn't, like, capitalize on the advantages that she got. Like, I think I might have got first blood on her, so that might have influenced her decision to try to run away with her lead with the rest of her team. But I'm not sure why she would try to do that. I feel like she should have just 1v1'd me more, basically, because I feel like she had the advantage against me. She should have tried to press her advantage to get more fed. For whatever reason, she didn't do that. I guess it's probably because I was playing carefully enough. I was being smart and getting her frustrated. And it's like that one YouTube video was saying, is some people, they don't know how to be bored in top lane, and that's why they fail as top laners. And maybe that's what she needed to do. She needed to be bored playing against me. So for this particular game, Brand was the carry, which I was fine with. I'd rather Brand be carry if I'm Senna than for me to be carry. Anyway, the laning phase went okay. Nothing special. Both of us dying, both of us killing, blah blah blah. It was a pretty lethal lane. I think Swain can be pretty annoying to play against, as well as Morgana or whatever. Is there a Swain on their team? I don't know. Maybe not. Getting a little confused, perhaps. So I actually went with the AP item mostly because I knew Grievous Wounds can be pretty good for Brand, and I don't want him wasting gold on Grievous Wounds, because I want him to be able to carry as hard as possible. So I bought Grievous Wounds early for him, and then I went for this item. Also, this was a Glacial Augment build, so I was not running Electrocute. So I was theory crafting Glacial Augment build, and then honestly, I think it went pretty good. I was getting one-shotted by the Rengar, though, despite having extra HP from the Immortal Shield bow, like its lifeline. But, yeah, I think that might be due in part to the fact that I don't have access to Overgrowth and such. So, as it is, this is mostly just like a modified Pike rune page. So if I needed to modify it more, I could maybe just look at Lux's rune page and modify it instead. Or something. So I could, like, swap out Revitalize, for example, if I wanted to. Although if I'm running this item, I might not want to swap out Revitalize, I'm not sure. Especially because I'll be buying this Mythic, maybe, which will give me more healing. But I mean, if I'm running up against assassins. Let me analyze the item build that I have for Senna. Item build listing, or whatever we're calling this. Okay, so one thing I could do is I could rush a Banshee's Veil, or even a Death Stance. You get 10% reduced damage. I don't know if that's enough to save you, but if you're going up against an assassin, you could get this first and then jump into Immortal Shield Bow, I suppose. And then you'd have the shield. The shield along with the damage over 3 seconds, and then with your bonus AD scaling with your mist and all that, and you should get a big heal if you can kill them off. So I could buy this earlier if I'm up against assassins, I suppose. So yeah, and considering the fact that I'm running Glacial Augment, it's more likely that I'm going to be getting the takedown, I think, because I'm going to keep my ally alive, blah, blah, blah. So I think we can get away with not rushing our Mythic in that case. Then again, maybe I should just get Immortal Shield both third. I don't know, it's just a thought. With the Grievous Wounds plus the Death Stance, it increases the chance you actually get your Death Stance healing. So he like, check this out, I'm running away from Rengar. He was really far away. And he just appeared behind me all of a sudden. It was pretty weird. I can even see him jumping. I guess it's because I didn't have vision there, maybe. But either way, it was pretty wild. So he gave himself tons of movement speed was what happened. So the funny thing is, he activated my lifeline, but he just does way too much damage. At least I think he activated my lifeline, did he? Like, did he kill me without my lifeline activating? Is that possible? No, it activated. It just barely did anything, that's all. I'm surprised. I thought it would provide more. I guess it's because I'm only level 10, right? If I'm level 18, it would provide a lot more HP. Anyways, needless to say, after that, I went back and watched the replay. So if you want to check out the highlight of me analyzing the replay, you can do that. So for this particular game, looks like I might have been going Electrocute because I'm starting off Lethality. No, I was going Grasp. Oh yeah, I was doing the new Grasp strat. So I was not going Eclipse, but I went for Glaive early. I figure Glaive will improve Twitch's stealth capability a little bit. If they have less wards, then he can get closer before he has to go Camouflage. So it seems pretty logical. Also, he doesn't really have any natural sustain in his kit, and Twitches usually prefer not to have any, so I figured I might as well improve my healing power by building Lethality. Your healing ability actually scales with attack damage and lethality and ability power. So by building something that has lethality and attack damage, it's like a double boost sort of for her. I wonder when we're going to get items that provide like lethality and armor or something like that, because I know that would really be helpful for Ornn, I feel like, but anyway. Honestly, I would even take like magic resistant, magic penetration, which is why I started adding abyssal mask to Ornn builds. Because I want to try it out. I feel like it'd be pretty good. Maybe not as good as on brand, but anyway. So 30 minutes in, I was 4-5-19, another dragon fight happened. We managed to kill Warwick pretty quickly. I guess his team wasn't really backing him up as well as they should have been. So I guess that made the fight kind of easy for us. Master Yi chases like one guy, and then I have to fight like 3 people.
Why? Do I keep like getting silenced or whatever the fuck?
I was getting really angry. So I'm trying to help keep my team alive for the dragon fight, but then like we have like 3 or 4 of us chasing like one guy, so I'm left to watch out for people coming to dragon, and I could just get piled on again.
Irritating team ever, I swear.
Like it's amazing because like they don't have Warwick, they can't really steal that. So it's kind of a lot of weird stuff happening. So yeah, my score might not have been great. I did have a big number of assists for what it's worth, so that's nice. But it could have been bigger, I suppose. Anyway. So yeah, as you could see, Pike was going Duskblade, which is pretty good, I suppose. Anyway, their Corki only died 4 times, and so did our Twitch. I feel like they were probably both being too careful generally. But anyway, space was created. It wasn't always used to the greatest effect. Alright. Now that we're done with that, we could finally start looking at the level head highlights. So there's 1, 2, I think there's only 4 highlights. Yeah. Probably because I only streamed on like Sunday or something like that over the past 3 weeks or so. So we have a power build highlight. So I was making a brawler. It was supposed to be a tiptoe level, but I made the player do a whole bunch of brawling before they had access to tiptoe, which definitely got a reaction from the host. Like, why did you do this? So you have a neat little sort of like key adventure, which I'm pretty proud of when you use your tiptoe. But a lot of this highlight is me just like battling the canoodles, I guess, perhaps. Yeah, I made it so there's like some gems inside the brittle blocks. And in the final room there's some like bigger gems, like either blue or purple ones. But yeah, so that could be something for the rhythm player to collect. See, there's 1 blue gem, and there's more. And you got to get that key if you want the purple mega gem. Once you take the package away, those robo factories spit out their monsters or robots or whatever we're calling them. You can turn into a bush though, so that helps a little bit, as you can see. So yeah, pretty cool level that I built, I think. And then we've got so it was January 23rd, power build development. Let's check out the 30th. Did we skip over the Kraken Slayer highlight, or? Well, I probably didn't talk about the fact that I bought it, but anyway, doesn't really matter much. We were up against tanks like Garen, so I figured it was appropriate. Anyways, so yeah, this was me working on this. I wanted to make sort of like an icy prison feeling. They wanted us to build a prison level, so we put peanuts inside the prison. A lot of the levels were like a GR18 escaping, which I hadn't even thought about for some reason. But I just was like, yeah, let's have some robots escape. I don't know why I thought about that and just went with it. But anyway, I think it turned out okay. I think it's because I'd already done it. Like a lot of the times when I see what they ask for and I'm like, well, I've already built a level like that, then I just go ahead and build it again, you know? Or just, I built something new with the same idea, right? We actually have a way for the player to zip to the top of the goal, but I haven't seen anyone do it on stream yet. But it's a little bit tricky to do. I actually had to tweak it a little bit to make it easier. I was thinking about changing the eye thingy, but just decided not to. This might be a bit of an Easter egg that people might not discover unless they like watch me talking about it. Zipping past these things is actually pretty hard. Like the biggest ones are like the hardest because you have to get it just right. The medium-sized ones aren't so bad. But yeah, I definitely had some struggling with that. But it still managed to be 3-gem difficulty, so that's nice. I think it's because of the relative size of the level. It's not that long, so people could beat it pretty quickly if they want. Anyway, I did mess up sort of with the peanut starting direction. I think I should have reversed it, but I kind of just wanted to ship it and not play through the level again because zipping past the saw blades was really difficult. So I didn't reverse the direction on the peanuts, as I probably should have. Anyway. And also because I knew the host was just going to kill the peanuts anyways. Also, I didn't figure it would be that big of a deal. So for here, for this power build, this was just 2 days ago instead of last week. I was practicing some pixel jumping, where you like land on the edge without touching the spike, which is pretty hard to do. Anyway, and then I made it so you have to get your mega gems by doing the pixel jumping. I put them inside these invisible blocks. So after you land the pixel jump, it's pretty easy to get the gem and jump around on top of it. I was actually practicing it with this one space lower, but it was kind of impossible for me to do. It might be possible for some incredibly skilled player, I don't know, maybe not, but I certainly wasn't going to grind it until I managed to do it. Sounds psychotic, to be honest. So then we designed a little bit of a brawler room. And I got a compliment for us, that was nice. Not sure if it was heartfelt or not, but at least it made me look good. I think, anyway, we had some funky doors here and there. I just tried to finish up these last 3 rooms, because like I was already starting to run overtime, and I was like, but I definitely want it this long, so I just spent a little bit of extra time on it. I had to fix up the ending because it wasn't quite where I wanted it, and maybe modified a few other things too. earlier in the level, like adding some more spikes that I forgot to add or something. Yeah, and maybe I was optimizing the decoration too. I was gonna change this to be non-reusable, but then I was like, but it'll be funny if it's reusable, and then like they actually are denied access to it once they activate the thing. So I made it be reusable, and it was taken as a joke, so that was good. We actually decided to add one more buddy at the end too, because I felt like it was necessary because of the combat. Could have one more for the final room, but I also wanted it to be mandatory. I wanted it to be a mandatory buddy, so that way the player definitely gets their save if they go towards the goal. So I moved the wall a little bit around the gate, sort of, so it's just like in front of the gate basically, and I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. I would have liked to have been able to make a 3x3 buddy, but the only buddy you can have is a 2x2 buddy. You can't have a 1x1 buddy or a 3x3 buddy, which is a bit unfortunate because otherwise I would just put it like immediately after the gate, and then it would be not optional for that. But because it's 2x2, I had to like move the wall around a little bit, but it looks okay. I don't mind it. I don't mind the improvisation. So for 2 days ago, because I was feeling well enough, I decided to do some tower trials after the power build was over. I could have alternatively played some Mario Maker 2, but I just didn't really feel like playing some Mario Maker 2. I figured I'd rather just play extra level head, so that's what I did. Because I've been playing lots of League, so I haven't really had the time for lots of level head or Mario Maker, so because I wanted to do some tower trials because I haven't done them for a while, I decided I'd rather do that rather than play some Mario Maker. So that's what I did. But yeah, I'm not putting either of these two games down intentionally. I'm just getting kind of caught up in the grind of League. It's taking me longer to get to the ranks that I want than I would prefer, so I have to spend longer playing League of Legends than I would prefer, so it wouldn't be as big of a deal if there weren't so many game ruiners in the game, but there are, so you just gotta grind through it. Anyway, so this was actually me speedrunning the level. The first time I went through it, it actually took me over half an hour to beat it. And actually, your time trophy, in order to get the time trophy, you actually need to be less than 17.5 minutes. So, but I think for pretty decent players such as myself, I guess, if we're calling myself that, I feel like generally the time trophies are obtainable with simply a second playthrough, which I think is pretty reasonable. Like I don't mind reaching for that, and I think it's a pretty good benchmark, especially since there's a list of like the top 25 times and stuff. So if people are feeling like there isn't enough to work for, then we can try to get higher up on that time list. So I feel like there is enough to work for personally. So I really like overall a lot of the design decisions they made with this game. I do wish they would work on it some more, but I think the work that they did on it is absolutely fabulous. Peerless, I guess you could say. Anyway, that was a puzzle that I definitely struggled on, and even on the speed run, I was being a little bit slow on it. So I definitely could have improved my time to go back and beat that one faster the next time, but I'm not going to grind out a better time. I'm already fourth, so getting third place would actually be pretty difficult because I'd have to shave off like probably more than 2 minutes, I think. But anyway, I think a lot of these older tower trials, people were not optimizing their, because it's like, yeah, there's a tower trial every single day. That's how many levels people are building. So people don't always have time to speedrun it, obviously, because they have real lives, blah, blah, blah. I'm sure this part after this buddy could be done much faster than what I'm doing as well. So that could probably help with getting a faster time. But I was definitely kind of, I don't know, messing up and or being careful and not just like experimenting and just, you know what I mean, like figuring out how to do it all in one go or something, you know, would be what you'd want to do, just like do it really, really, really fast. Which might take a lot of deaths to figure out, so then you'd want to play it again. So in other words, I just hadn't done my research on the first playthrough. So my first playthrough is mostly just getting like gems and stuff for the ribbon score. I think I got 6th place for the ribbon score, which turned out to be worse than my shoe time, if you want to call it that. So in the end, I think it's safe to say that at least at this stage of the level head history, or at least for this particular tower trial, a lot of people, if they played it a second time, it might have been more so to get the higher score rather than the faster time. I don't know. Or at least there might have been a couple of people difference or something. But like, none of the people above me actually went for a ribbon score, right? So the people that went for the shoe score that are above me, they probably played it at least twice, right? Maybe even 3 times. But they didn't try to go for a ribbon score. And the people on the left, actually Warbin is the one person that went for a ribbon score and a time score. Other than that, there's pretty unique names, right? Oh wait, Sleepy is like 5th, so he used to be 4th place, and he's 5th on ribbon score too. So there's that as well. Anyway, I guess my time is decently competitive for only having played it twice. Anyway, we'll definitely be playing more Levelhead this week. I'm just not sure when exactly. If it delays until Sunday, then so be it. But I would like to find the time to play some more of it. Yeah, fun games. So that's what you guys missed over the past, I don't know, 19 days, like 2.5 weeks. So I'm gonna post this up on YouTube now. It's gonna be the biggest episode ever of this What Did You Miss?